Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Okay, so here's the thing. You, me, and 2 other people are going to a restaurant, right?
Okay.
We're, at this stage, we're not friends. I kind of want to impress you a bit. I take you somewhere that I think's nice. So, we go to this restaurant, and we get served, and the starter's okay. And the main, none of us are happy with, right?
Okay.
I reckon it's undercooked. Everyone else says they think theirs is undercooked too. I don't know, again, whether it's a thing about the fact that we're not all friends and it's kind of embarrassing. And if I'm saying to you, this is awful, isn't it? If I'm paying for it, is everyone else going to coincide with me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we complain. And, fairly stridently complain to the point where the manager comes over and he says, right, okay, your bill's come to £220. I'm going to knock it down to 140. How do you feel about that?
Wow.
So,
pretty good.
Because it's not the whole meal, it's just the main dishes that you're concerned about. So we'll knock some money off, but not the whole thing. You understand that, don't you? Yeah, absolutely. So take the money. I'm still feeling a little bit sore about the fact that it wasn't a massively expensive meal, but it wasn't a cheap meal by any means. And so I go home and I get the computer out and I write my feelings about it.
What?
Online.
Online. I was gonna
Facebook.
Say, I thought it was just like a little note to yourself.
Facebook.
For future. Or Facebook.
Yeah.
Publishing to the world.
Yeah. And here's what I write. The guy that was the manager on the 16th of August 2018 was very abrupt and confrontational, disrespectful, and in general an absolute disgrace. He clenched his fist and told us after ruining our meal that he will not even take off our meal that was massively undercooked. He obviously had an ego. Cut a long story short, he ended up sending his waitress over to sort the bill. I feel so embarrassed after taking a few clients out for something that other customers rant about how good it is. I thought they could at least be professional. Completely unresponsive to our comments, being frowned upon in a polite manner. I'm lost for words. Completely thrown, I'm sorry to say.
Well, how rude was the manager if he's giving them £100 off the bill?
This is the thing. There's no mention of that there, is there?
No. That he accepted that money.
Right. So, bearing in mind we've paid 140 for something that should have come to 220, but, if the meals were undercooked, then you don't want to pay for them. I get it, right? Dear Sam, thank you very much for your feedback on social media. As a group, we obviously cannot exceed your expectation. Therefore, to avoid future disappointments, I would like to inform you that you won't be welcome in our venues ever again. That includes Mimosa, Hudson, Cube and Pavilion. Kind regards, the manager.
Wow, banned for life.
From everywhere in the chain. Who's right? Who's right? Because at first I thought, right, here's the scenario I'm imagining. This guy's taking people out to impress them. It's embarrassing when it's not up to standard.
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether there's a bit of willy waving involved and showing off a bit. And maybe it got confrontational.
Oh, I see. So he upped the ante by being testy.
Is what I'm wondering. For the manager to go away and then to send someone else and they're the one who sorts the bill out suggests to me that those 2 people couldn't work it out themselves. But we're guessing.
Yeah, we don't know.
What we do know, though, is they accepted that smaller price and then went home and complained about it again. Now, it's that bit that I wonder about because, I don't know, I'm not a massive complainer. But if I do have cause to complain about a meal and they sort it out, whether it's with a different meal, if you complain early enough, or they go and cook it better for you,
yeah,
or they knock the money off, if what's happening here, I suspect, is that they're waiting until the end of the meal and then say we're not paying that.
Yeah.
I think if you've taken the money off, that's the thing settled, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just having a little whinge. It's ridiculous because he took the money and he doesn't even mention that in his Facebook post.
Does he? It's not interesting. So the manager doesn't want anything to do with him anymore.
No, because he knows he's a troublemaker. I mean, that's the key.
But if he feels like everyone thinks that restaurant's brilliant and he was let down, has he got an obligation to tell people about it?
No, here's the thing. When you go on Yelp or any of those sites, you know how to read between the lines. So you can see where the consensus is on a restaurant. And then every now and again, there's somebody wanging on about they didn't read my mind about X, Y, and Z. It's some unreasonable, I didn't like the colors of the tiles in the toilets or something.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's one of those guys.
I'm looking at this message and you know what I'm getting? The whiff of revenge.
Yeah, it's not passing the sniff test.
Someone felt that they didn't get exactly what they wanted in front of their clients, maybe.
Yeah.
And they're taking their revenge in the most public way. Because that, as you said, doesn't mention that there was an agreement reached.
Well, the other thing, Catherine, is that with the allure of social media for very limited individuals is that idea of telephone tough, that you can just go rawr and be bigger and supposedly more self-important than you really are. So he's taking advantage of that. He's having a little throwing his toys out of the pram moment. I mean, I was last week I was in Los Angeles and was having a meal at a brand new Mexican restaurant and was enjoying my melted cheese queso fundido. And it wasn't quite so fundido when I took a mouthful and there was a piece of plastic on my tongue. And it turned out it was like the cut off corner of the cheese, the way they'd stored it. So I showed it to the waitress. I said, "Oh, you got to know about this." And of course she was very apologetic, went back. The owner came out because it was a brand new restaurant. He was overseeing everything and he couldn't have been more apologetic. And he explained exactly what that piece of plastic was and how they had, they hand make this special vegan cheese. I was with somebody who was vegan. I'm not a vegan. And, they pre-package it. And so it gets the portion size right. And then this little corner of the packaging fell into it. And so obviously he took that off of our bill and then offered us a free dessert and we got a free drink. So
beautifully handled.
It was fine. It was happy. Everyone was happy. And for this guy, I sense that you are correct, that this guy made a song and dance to the manager to show off. I mean, of course, we're going down this avenue of painting a terrible picture of this man who perhaps was completely humiliated by a terrible individual.
I don't know. I think that the way he reacted on Facebook kind of undermines any point he may have had.
Big man, baby.
Yeah,
not
I don't know.
Buying that.
I really do judge people on how they treat people in restaurants. Well, if they treat waiters and waitresses, people on cabin crew on planes, anyone who is there ostensibly to serve you. I take great offence if people are rude to them.
You know what? Here's something that I witnessed once in an Indian restaurant in London many years ago. I was so impressed with the staff because there was a man very inebriated eating on his own in a corner, big pile of curry in front of him. He pushed himself past his limit. He started to enjoy a little bit of a barf into his plate of brown gooey curry, adding to the general slop. And then after he finished disgorging the contents of his belly, picked up his fork and calmly commenced eating what was in there. It was spicy. Who knew? He was, he's recycling. So the staff noted that this was going on and came running over. Excuse me, sir. No, you can't eat that. Let us bring you a new plate. And they,
Wow.
And he was oblivious.
Now, I know places that would have just chucked him out, but they were there in a caring capacity.
In a caring capacity. They need this man to be fed. They know he has to line his stomach with nutritious curry that does
Even though he's done a Mr. Creosote in the corner of the restaurant.
He has investigated the contents of his stomach in a fashion that was affronting to all diners, except for me. Apparently, I was the only one who was able to continue peacefully eating my food. The people at my table were appalled. Like, how can you eat through that? Like, well, I don't know. It's like...
Makes me kind of peckish.
It's dinner theater.
My first proper boyfriend had many black marks against his name by the end of the relationship. That's why the relationship ended. But one of the major red flags I saw pretty early on in the relationship was he did not believe in tipping.
No.
Mm-hmm. He was one of these people, and I think he got it from his dad. He was one of these people who was, no one tips me for the jobs I do. Well... They decided to take this work on. And I just thought, God, what difference does it make to you, a couple of quid?
It's so exhausting. But it's not that thing of, the thing that old people do, God bless them, who, it's like, well, back in, 1947... $1 was a great tip or whatever it is. Yeah. Here's £2. here's the change, here's some coppers, and then you have to kind of sneak back so as not to embarrass your elderly relative and, slip a little bit more money in there.
I feel sick if I've missed a tip or whatever. The other day when we went out to eat something.
Yes.
And I realised there was a tip bowl because you put a few quid in it, and I thought, oh my God, I've just been paying and not thinking about it.
No, but
it was included in the bill.
It's included in the bill, but I just
even so, when you did it, I thought, oh, she must think I'm awful.
No, I think I was just trying to subconsciously impress you.
Well, you did.
And make you think that I was like really caring and solicitous. I think I just got hornswoggled and finagled into I just saw the tip bowl and I robotically put my hand in my wallet and threw some coins in there.
I was a waitress for about a year or so when I was a student in a Mexican restaurant, and it was really hard work. I used to go home smelling of like Mexican food, and it took a good, maybe good long shower to get the smell out of my hair and everything.
Yeah.
I was going up and down stairs. It was in an old Victorian building, so the stairs were narrow. I am the clumsiest woman in the world, so it's amazing that I didn't end up wearing that stuff more often. But I remember one night my boss came over and said, listen, my bank manager's coming in with a couple of clients. Don't serve anyone else all night. I want you to be at her beck and call.
Oh.
So there I am. And I wasn't overly kind of clingy with them. I didn't do that thing of, can I get you anything? And I wasn't, Uriah Heep. But I was, I made sure that when one meal went, it wasn't too long before the next one came. Their drinks were always top. That whole thing, I was basically their butler for the night.
Yeah.
And when they left, I got a tip of 10p.
That is derisory. I mean, that is a statement.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that you're worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worse.
That's ruder than nothing.
Yeah, it's ruder than nothing.
I'll never forget that.
10p.
Yeah. And I'm wondering whether... I mean, she knew the guy who ran the restaurant, so she knew that was going to get back. What the hell was that all about? Either she hated him, or she hated me, or they were quite drunk, or she'd run out of money.
Yeah.
But, God, 10p, please, no.
Yeah. And also if you run out of money, you just go, this is totally mortifying, but I've run out of money and I can't leave a tip. I am so sorry.
Say something to me.
And then you're like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah, 10p. So that's possibly why I get really, really pissed off by people who are rude to waiters.
Agitated. Militant!
Oh, for sure. Let's have a word with Alan Caddick. I bet he's never rude to people in restaurants. Hey!
And just springing out like a jack in the box.
He's been waiting for his moment, and the moment has arrived.
Yes.
I wanted to apologise for last night's day bark.
Last night's day bark?
Yeah, there wasn't a day bark or a debacle even.
Well, put it this way, I missed the memo last night, but I'm on the ball tonight.
Okay, go on. What have you got for us, Alan Caddick?
You were talking about being banned from a restaurant.
Yes.
I got a life ban of my own.
He said proudly.
Yeah, proudly. Yeah, don't think you're the only one.
What did you do?
I blurted out the M-word.
What?
I blurted out the M-word.
What?
The M-word.
Please tell me not the N-word we were discussing yesterday.
It was a bookmaking establishment.
Are you, do you have Tourette's in this regard? Like, why do you keep returning to this topic? I mean...
No, this is relating to tonight. Because you were talking about being banned for life.
Yes, I know.
And it caused me to be banned for life from the bookies.
Wow.
Right, well, I mean, I'm already on their side, Alan Caddick.
But I did apologise, but no chance of parole.
Well, I'm not surprised. What on earth were you thinking?
I had a bad day. I know I shouldn't have took it out on the person. If I had the chance to apologise, I would.
So you said it to someone?
In temper.
Oh
no.
Cads, no.
This was before Play Radio days. I was young and naive.
Man alive.
But I've learnt my lesson there.
What, because you got banned, or because you feel bad about being horrible to someone?
Both.
Cads.
But like I say, if the governor was here, he would have been really offended, wouldn't he?
Well... I'm not angry, Alan. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself. And this was like 10 years ago, and I'm still living with the same ever since.
Is that person still working in that place?
No.
You probably scarred them for life.
Yeah.
But put it this way, they're still, I'm on the wall of shame in that place.
Yeah. I'm afraid, Alan, you deserve to be.
But I've learned a lesson here. Keep my opinions to myself.
It's not even an opinion, Cads. Just don't say that word.
What word?
The word that got you banned.
I think he's
Nobody's supposed to say exactly.
Yeah.
But like I say, today's another day.
Okay.
And I'm feeling good about the football.
Okay. Why?
Because my team drew tonight.
Well, they didn't win.
But they didn't lose, that's the main thing.
Glass half full.
That's the spirit, Cads.
It was against Brentford.
Oh, right. The bees.
Yeah, it was Villa Brentford at Villa Park. Villa drew 2-2.
Okay, well, look, we were mildly interested in your mood. I don't care about the result, but thanks for phoning, Alan Caddick.
Thank you.
Bye. I mean, this is the thing about football types. You show a small amount of polite interest and they start giving you the rundown. Not interested.
They're trying to force knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I could nod and smile, but I've had 41 years of living like that, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Good.
Because my dad's a football journalist, so I was force-fed it. My God, yeah. Ugh, can't stand it. Roger!
Hello, Catherine. Hello, Katie.
Hi, Roger.
Now, today was D-Day for you.
Yeah.
And you're sounding upbeat.
Yeah.
So, go on, what happened?
Took her in this afternoon.
We're talking about the cat?
Yeah, talking about the cat.
Okay.
The veterinary nurse checked her, confirmed that she was a girl and that she was unchipped.
Oh.
Took her back an hour later for a vet's appointment for a checkup. So the vet's checking her over. We're talking about the circumstances to which we acquired her. The vet scanned her for a chip and found a chip.
Oh.
She's reunited with her owners.
Oh, it's a happy ending, but also a sad ending.
Yep.
But what this shows, Roger, is that there is room in your heart for a cat.
Yes, I'm going to find another cat to adopt. Don't worry.
It's probably
about
for
that.
the best, because you imagine that cat that you get, you're going to be absolutely devoted to. I'm hoping that the owner of that one has missed them and will treat them right.
She had been missing since the 11th of July.
Oh, wow.
That's a long time. So you were a total conquering hero as far as that cat's owner. What was the cat's name?
I forgot to ask. I didn't get given any. I didn't get any information. All I knew that they'd contacted the owner. The owner spoke to the receptionist.
They must have been
grateful.
Yeah, they must have been overjoyed.
Yeah.
You did the right thing, Roger, even though I'm sure you're a bit heartbroken.
Yeah. At the time, I was absolutely gutted, but it's the right result. She's reunited with a loving family.
Yeah.
And I can get an apology from Mr. Iain Lee for accusing me of stealing a cat.
Exactly. You didn't steal it. You borrowed it for a bit.
Well, you rescued her.
Yeah, but as I said on Monday night, my mum stole the cat.
Right, go on. We need this story because you called in at too late towards the end. We didn't get the full gen.
Yeah, there was a neighbour with a cat that kept coming to our house. This was when, oh God, I must have been 7 or 8, maybe younger. And it kept coming to our house. We knew it were mistreated. I think the lady's boyfriend at the time was kicking the cat.
Oh.
Stuff like that. I said it with this. Your story about your neighbour's cat reminded me of this. Mm. And so my mum was like, right, we're keeping him. He keeps coming here. We're keeping him. And we did.
And were the neighbours bothered?
Very.
Oh.
And all my mum said was, well, if you want to go that route, well, I'll call the police, I'll call RSPCA, I'll get them involved.
Right.
So you managed to, the cat always stayed with you? That was the new home for...
Yep, he was a very wild Tom. Mm. And back in the 80s, you know, people were a little bit more irresponsible with their animals as compared to today. Mm. There was a three-legged neighbourhood dog called Scamp.
We had one of those. I wonder if it was the same dog. Always ended up in the school playground.
You'd always see it out
Yes.
It was always out, and it was just a normal thing to just see a dog roaming around.
Yeah, they used to take themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why I was always the kid that walked in dog poo.
But yeah, and he hated men. He hated me dad.
Gosh.
He was savage. It has an unhappy ending. I can't remember how long we had. We had him a fair few years. He did used to wander. He'd disappear for a week or two and come back.
Well, had he been done?
No.
Well, that's what they do then, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And he went on one of his wanders, never came back. A few months later, my dad heard somebody talking on a bus about a cat that had been coming round to their farm, bothering, because of their, female cats. Mm-hmm. And it was wild and savage and attacking people. Yep, that was Vienna. And by the sounds of it, the farmer dealt with him.
Blimey.
Wow, that's...
He only ever bit me once when we were play fighting, and he immediately reacted and was sorry for what he did.
Really?
Yeah.
They're usually remorseless.
How did he indicate his...
He immediately stopped and backed off. But as I said, he hated men. So I think that's why you were. I'm guessing you were going for the guy that my dad overheard.
Yeah.
Because he was a vicious little thing. There was a neighbourhood dog, and it got into. My mum was sat in the back garden once, and this dog got into our back garden, sneaking up towards the cat, thinking, ha 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 ha, I'm going to get you. The cat's got half of one eye open. As soon as the dog got in range, the cat leapt up, jumped on the dog's back, and sank his teeth into his neck.
Fearless.
Yep, the cat was nuts.
But he was your cat. Well, kind of.
Kind of. That's the thing. You don't own cats.
No.
If a cat's mistreated, a cat will just go.
Yeah, you can't really blame him either.
Yeah. As I said, if my mum was in your position with that neighbour's cat, she'd have took it. No question.
Yeah, I would have taken it, but my husband is really not a cat man.
Yeah, well, they are an acquired taste, I guess. Well, apparently there's more cats. There's more pet cats in the world than dogs.
I can believe it. I quite fancy having one myself, but like I say, it's not just up to me.
Yeah.
And the kids have said to me, why can't we have a kitten, Mummy? Why can't we have a cat? And I said, well, I mean, I would like one, but Daddy says no, and it'd be a choice between Daddy or the cat. And I've got to say, there was a very uncomfortable pause.
Oh, bless.
Roger, let us know how you get on with your new cat, and when.
Yeah, I will, don't worry.
Take care then.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye-bye. We'll take your call coming up next, 0344 499 1000. You're listening to Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
To Berkshire now, and Dion is on the line. Hi, Dion.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, first time I've talked to you.
It is, but I've heard you speak many a time to Iain. You've been ringing him for years, haven't you? Off and on.
I stopped for a good few years.
Yeah. What fell out with him?
Everything. Just work and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, I suppose. His family lived at the back of where I lived.
Did they?
Yeah.
What, in a house or just feral?
His dad is, and he went to school with my niece.
Did he?
That's all right, yeah, he was just a neighbour and that. Not anymore.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
So what are you ringing to tell us tonight, Dion?
Right, you're on about a restaurant.
Yeah, go on.
I remember I worked as a barman in an Indian restaurant, and it was quite weird, really. The bloke who run it, you know the slops in the tray when you pour drink?
Oh, yeah.
He told me to pour it back into the drink.
Shut up, that's disgusting.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, and obviously, being an Englishman, I just couldn't do that.
No.
And all the tips, because I used to take all the money with people paying their meals, all the tips went to him. he wouldn't share them out with the staff.
Hey, you know what, though? That's quite common practice these days, isn't it, for these big companies?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about 1988 one.
Right. Oh, that's not on.
Yeah, he was unscrupulous, that guy.
He was, yes. And, you know, I took the job because I like Indian food.
Just a perk.
Freebie as well. But
Okay.
apart from that.
Did they pay you as well, or was it just payment in curry?
No, I got paid. It was about 75p an hour.
God.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, now I don't do that. I've grown up since. It was a long time ago. But if I go to a restaurant and I'm not happy with a meal, which I have been a few times, I'm not arrogant. I won't argue. I would just leave £1 on the table. I never got a lady with me, I say my ex-wife or someone. I would just leave £1 on there and walk out.
Right, so you will leave a tip then?
I will leave £1. I won't pay for the meal if I don't like it.
Oh, right,
Oh,
okay.
he does a runner.
Well, yeah.
No, I don't do a runner. I'll tell them.
He gives them a nominal fee.
Happy,
You pay for what you think it's worth.
and I will leave £1 because there's some law or something. I left what I think it's worth.
Wow. Don't you have to have a conversation with them, though? I thought you had to give your...
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I was there with my ex-wife, and her steak was different than mine. I like a teriyaki sauce, but they put the teriyaki sauce on her steak, and I tried to explain. And they said, well, just scrape the teriyaki sauce on yours.
Where were you? Faulty Towers?
Well, something like that. It was a well-known... I'm not going to mention the name of it.
No.
But
But did you eat it, Dion?
and I just couldn't believe it.
But did you eat it? Because I think if you've eaten it, you've got to give them something. I mean, and more than £1.
I had a little bit of it, and...
Just a taste.
do anything, so I just left a pan on the table.
Did you have pudding?
No, I don't eat pudding.
Did you have a starter?
No.
What, no prawn cocktail?
Me and my ex-wife, we had a steak dinner,
Yeah.
and it was even when they served us, they said, "Can you hurry up because we need your table." You know?
You should have known from then. You should have known.
There you go. I mean, it's... But a lot of people, like you said, your experience, I think the managers, if there's a shortfall, I think it comes out of their wages, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I think it does, yeah.
I don't know. I remember my manager at the Mexican restaurant once had us all in his office because someone had given us a Duff credit card, or it had not been... It had come up as declined and no one had noticed, and so...
Right.
So he had us all in the office and he said, "Did you do this?" And I went, "Well, clearly, if I did, I wouldn't know, would I?"
Right.
And everyone said the same thing. It's like, well, who's going to say, "Yeah, I did that"? And the point is, no one noticed. You know, it's just... sometimes stuff like that happens, but still, my God.
I know, yeah. I mean, I would not put the slops in the glass.
No.
Well, you know, it's just not a done thing. But he's obviously trying to save money.
Well, yeah, but you don't save money by poisoning your customers.
But there could be all sorts. I mean, it could be bitter, lager, anything, you know, in the drip trays.
Oh, God.
And he said, just pour in their drink. He said, they all come in late and they're drunk. They won't know.
What's the difference? They're already mixing it. Might as well mix it for them. Incredible.
Yeah. I don't know. It's terrible. Some of us... But I suppose you get what you pay for.
Sometimes you have to scrape a bit off.
Yeah, I don't eat fast food. I prefer to cook my own food.
I don't blame you after those experiences.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was like 30 odd years ago. But
What's your go-to dinner if you've got to cook something to be slightly impressive? What's your pièce de résistance?
I like egg noodles. So I'm not vegetarian. I like egg noodles and all that's doing. I like to get the wok, put some meat, some vegetables in it, stir all them up, put that on the noodles, and then open a tin of maybe tomato soup or chicken soup, put that over the bowl, and then put it in the microwave for 2 minutes and warm the soup up, go with it, and have some good tortillas.
Oh, blimey.
There was some wraps.
That sounds like an apocalyptic meal.
That sounds like the last thing in the cupboard.
That's it. Yeah, that's like you go into the bunker and the mushroom cloud is looming in the distance, and it's your last meal, and what is left on the shelf, and then you make your masterwork.
Now, I want to get a recording of that recipe and dub over it. Not just noodles. That's Dion's noodles.
It's not at my old job. I just ate when I could.
Yeah, just fuel.
And the whole thing takes about, to prepare and cook it, it's ready to eat in less than 20 minutes.
Before the end of the world.
Minutes, 20 minutes?
What,
20 seconds, surely.
So we cook the meat in a wok.
Oh, there's meat involved.
Pretty quick.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course there's
And
meat involved.
it's a nice meal, a few tortillas, and it's just nice, and it's just good food.
Well, I think you might be stretching it there, Dion. Thanks very much for the suggestion. The serving suggestion of basically anything that's at the back of the cupboard and some tortilla chips.
Just slop it over.
Takes less than 20 minutes, you know.
Yeah. Microwave for 2 minutes, though.
Oh, my God. Hello, Ray. Ray.
Hello.
Hello.
You said A.
Well, an A preceded by an R.
Yeah, but yeah.
This is the first time I've had the bottle to call you two ladies, because it's a bit scary.
Well, Catherine's terrifying. I don't blame you. But I'm the good cop.
Well, you say that. You can't see the faces. Man, the faces.
The body language.
Has Ian been sacked?
Sorry?
So has Ian been sacked?
Why are you thirsty for sackings?
Thirsty. Bloodthirsty.
Well, it's just the rumours that were going around, which obviously weren't true, but there are some people out there that would have believed them.
Yeah. Not you, though, eh?
So, well, no, I'm not that stupid. But I've been on hold for a few minutes now. I've got about 14 different stories now after listening to some of your old callers.
Well, give us your best one, and then we'll see where we get after that.
Flipping heck. See, there you go. That's ridiculous, because they're all rubbish.
Well, just pick one at random, then.
Well, very quickly, the one about food hygiene. When I was in the police, there was a guy in the mid-90s that got sacked from the police canteen because he'd been doing something into the coleslaw for about 3 years.
Shut up! No!
Ew!
Got 3 years in prison.
Prison? You can go to jail for that?
Yes, because he said he hated the police, and he'd been, you know what, into the coleslaw.
But wait, I don't know what.
Yes, you do.
Well, that's not something you do to someone you hate, surely. There's got to be love involved.
That's a gesture of love. That is a gesture of excitement and stimulation and investment.
You should be in control of this show, because if that's your take on it.
Yeah.
But
that is a true story. Yeah.
Good grief. Hang on.
He adds protein, though.
But nobody noticed.
Right, I'm not even going to answer that. I'm going to move on.
Wait, don't move on. Don't serve us up this delicious story and then expect us to move on.
That's what he wanted you to do. Wow.
Okay. There's not much else to say.
But wait, you can go to prison for just
contaminating food. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just having an active sex life
at work.
At work, extracurricular, portable.
Yeah.
It was more along the lines of contamination.
All right. Okay.
My God.
Yeah.
That is
and
dedication.
Yeah.
But he admitted he wanted to admit it to sort of get the full pleasure out of the whole situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he wanted
you to know.
Yeah.
That's what you've been eating.
Emphasis on pleasure.
And he said it was for 3 years.
He'd been doing it for 3 years. You know, he could say anything. Maybe that was a lie. Did they send him to prison for 3 years? 1 year for every year that he added protein to your delicious snack time?
But he'd been working there for over 3 years, and apparently because obviously I wasn't there, but apparently the hatred in his sort of, once he was caught, the hatred there for the police service was horrendous. He just said, yes, I hate them all. You know, I was wrongly done when I was younger, so opportunity to come and work in the canteen, and that's what I did. That was my plan.
Talk about revenge is a dish best served cold.
Body temperature, turns out.
Body temperature, as it turns out, yes. Correct.
You're the worst two people I should have told this story to.
Well, thank you so much for bringing it to us. Go on, give us one more, Ray, and try and make it a bit less filthy this time.
No, I like the filth.
This is less filth, but
Okay.
I think I'm gonna out Katie on this one.
All right.
I'm currently reading a book called How to Stop Time by Matt Haig.
Oh yeah, I've read that. In fact, if you look in the back, there's a little thank you to me in it.
Is there? Oh, I thought you were about to give me the ending because I'm about 100 pages from the end.
No, I helped him out with some French.
Oh, I bet you did.
You all know what it's about.
Yeah.
And I think the person sitting near you hasn't aged in about 20 years, so I think she might be...
Well, you flatter me. You flatter me, sir.
Well, I grew up watching you on The Word, young lady, and I don't think you've bloody aged at all.
She hasn't.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling all Southern Belle, like I need a little fan.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. I don't know where to put my eyes. I'll hush my mouth.
So I don't know if that's you or Kath now.
That's her.
That's really me.
I'm a bit more, wow, fiddle-dee-dee.
Oh, fiddle-dee-dum.
I've got a story from that part of the world actually coming up. Thanks very much for leading us to it, Ray.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, that was
Don't
good.
eat any mayonnaise. My God. Here we go. You know country music?
I've heard tell, yes.
You know they like a particular flag?
Confederate flag?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, it turns out that the spirit of country music may have come across the pond, but the suspicion of the flag hasn't, right? So there's this guy, a British country music fan, who's been forced to pull down his Confederate flag.
Yeah.
He didn't realise it had racist connotations, apparently.
It's a tricky one, because it didn't... It's a funny thing. It's one of those things that's morphed through the years, because it kind of just, for a long time, symbolized Southern...
The South, right? Yeah,
Southern pride. And to a lot of people in the South, it still does, but it's just one of those things that, it has too much baggage associated with it. And the Civil War was fought over slavery. The South didn't want to give up free labor. And therefore, anything that symbolizes the Confederacy, which was the South seceding from the Union and from the United States, that symbolizes that part of our unfortunate history.
Well, this guy, this is news to this guy in Cheltenham, apparently. It says John Bryant had to tell Gloucestershire Live that after someone complained about this flag he has flying from a flagpole of his house, he said, we're a member of the Country and Western Club at Knotgrove in the Cotswolds. They use all sorts of flags, this kind and others. It's all up there for tablecloths. Well, that's another thing, right?
Right.
To be honest, I didn't realise it was racist or anything like that. I just put it up as a flag. The flag, which bore the words, "The South will rise again" in the centre, has now been taken down.
Oh, right. Wait, so it was a Confederate flag and then it had a slogan on it? That's not really a Confederate flag then. That's something else.
Also, it's something I know about Americans is you're not supposed to do certain things to the flag, right?
Yeah.
Can you eat your dinner off it?
Well, the only thing I know about it is that you can't let a flag touch the ground. But maybe it might be fine as a tablecloth.
I heard that you weren't supposed to, and yet I've seen it. Like make them into shorts and bikinis and stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that really is the flag or simply a piece of lycra spandex
with the stars and stripes on.
Yeah, the stars and stripes on it. So I don't think you're literally wearing a flag. It's a tricky thing. It's one of those things that you probably have to research it to find out what the up to date take on it is, because even increasingly flying the American flag is sort of suspect, like if someone is so gung-ho about it where they have a billion flags, stamped on their bumper stickers and, on their garage door and also flying from a flagpole over their chimney.
Yeah.
It's a little in your face and it just seems a little hardcore.
Yeah.
Maybe,
The first time I went...
Not KKK, but like in that sympathetic in that
It's
department.
about quantity though, isn't it? Because I've been to really nice parts of America, white picket fencey type places, and they tend to have a flag of some sort. Sometimes the stars and stripes, but sometimes like a nice sort of down home, cutesy, happy Halloween or something flying.
We love our flags
from the front porch.
Yeah, for sure. But also Americans we are just for years, like even before the crazy, Trump years where patriot is like a really loaded word now in American politics, and it can mean different things to different people. But before this time, everyone flew American flags. It was sort of a source of pride. Like once I moved to Britain in the 80s, I always found it quite odd going back to America and seeing, wow, like, are people so unsure of what their nationality is in America that they need to keep flying a flag?
See, that's always been my kind of, what the story I've told myself is still a pretty new country, and it's about kind of sealing that identity. There's something in that, I never really understood the point of flying your country's flag in your country.
Yeah, exactly. And
like, who's that aimed at?
Yeah, like it's a pretty big country, and there's just pretty much filled with Americans.
And you're kind of yeah, we know.
Yeah, we're still in America. I've been driving for 12 hours and I'm still in America.
But like you say, the relationship with the flag is different there.
Yes.
You still have kids pledging allegiance in the morning, right?
Yeah, pledge allegiance. I don't think we have to do that anymore. It's been a few years since I was in school.
I bet Trump would want everyone to do that now, wouldn't he? I mean, this whole thing about taking the knee and... all of that is self-serving. He doesn't have any convictions. It's not like he's like, oh, I am Christian and I really have these, forsworn needs in these departments. He is just doing so. Apart from, unless it is helpful to his vote.
Well, yeah, no, he's just got a really solid agenda that he's always had. He's very, very consistent. That's what you can say for him. But in terms of, it's funny that this fellow here, that the story you're reading is, adopting the Confederate flag. I mean, the thing that's cool about the Confederate flag and what people love about it, that makes it cooler than the Stars and Stripes, is that it's the rebel flag.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, kick-ass rebels who, didn't take any guff from the man. And so people love that outlaw aspect of it.
Yeah, I think the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, it's a little kitschy and fun.
Because you think about that, even that type, the theme tune to the Dukes of Hazzard now, just some good old boys, never meaning no harm. I mean, even good old boys now is taken on a different kind of connotation, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, the Proud Boys in America, which I just think, don't we have the football lads here or something? There's like the right wing. It's interesting that these grown men adopt these little, diminutive terms for themselves. So yeah,
just the boys, man.
Yeah,
just the boys.
Oh, I thought they were just saying they're, childlike in their outlook.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's just one of those funny things. We're always, it's just culture and society is always in a spasm of transition and change and morphing, and it's interesting, but sometimes it could be a rough ride.
Mm-hmm. And this poor guy seems to have stumbled across something of a hornet's nest when it comes to...
Well, what's happened? He just been asked to take it down.
Well, and he's been accused of racism.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think... it's all contextual. It's like the fellow we were talking to last night, I believe, and he was saying... The British man saying, what's the problem? I'm not offended by the word cracker, the term cracker.
Yeah.
Well,
it wouldn't have been used towards you.
Yeah, and he doesn't understand what it means because it's an American term aimed at a certain class of Americans, white Americans. And I think in this case as well, like this guy in Nottingham, is it?
No, Cheltenham.
Cheltenham. He's, I'd let him off the hook because he doesn't know what he's getting into. He's just trying to, to tick all the boxes there.
He just likes Dolly Parton, for God's sake.
Yeah, who doesn't? He just he likes a little bit of woohoo, redneck, two-step and jamming.
Who doesn't? 03444991000. We got Hugh, we got Matt, and I think we got Galen coming up too. If you want to join them, 03444991000. You're listening to Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you.
On Talk Radio.
You never knew.
You never knew.
I'll tell you where it's taking us. Contaminated coleslaw. You'll be astounded to know is the thing that seems to have caught people's imaginations. Thanks very much for your comments.
And fired up their taste buds.
Oh, my God. Ugh. Roger said it would be worse if after he was caught the coleslaw never tasted as good again. I'm sure it tasted different. And Al Gilly said if he went to prison, someone else would have been tossing his salad. Now, there's no need for that. If you want to send us a tweet or a text, by the way, more than welcome. You can tweet at Talk Radio or us individually. I'm Flippin' Kath with no G, and she's Katie Puckerick.
Yes, she is.
With all the right bits.
Yes.
You can text us to 87222, but you need to put talk at the beginning of your message, and it'll cost you 25p per message on top of your standard network rate. Or you can give us a ring on 0344 499 1000. Matt's done that. Hiya, Matt. Matt. Hello.
There you are. Hi.
It's your turn. You're the Matt that sent us the pictures.
Yes.
Which sounds very dodgy. Let me explain. So
please do.
We've been talking about excessive flag waving
in America.
And you sent us, I mean, I don't know where to begin with the flagging on this.
Well, number one, it's a monster truck. It's a huge giant truck careening down the avenue.
A great big shiny one, covered in stars and stripes. Not only is it covered in them, the man inside appears to be wearing a Captain America mask.
Well, that's all right. I mean, that's
normal, right?
That's normal.
That's all right.
That's all right. No, here's my issue with it. The statue or whatever it is, the taxidermied American eagle on a stick on the top of the hood of the truck or the cab, actually. And then two giant full-size American flags flying from the bed of the truck.
What's weird is that was taken in Florida by a friend of mine. I didn't take that.
Okay.
But I have seen that numerous times before. I've seen, when I was back home a couple of weeks ago, I saw a pickup truck with an American, and you're speaking of the Confederate flag, they also had a Confederate flag waving from the back of the truck, a gigantic one, not some small little hand-waving thing.
Yeah.
Both gigantic ones flying around, without even thinking about it, without caring in any way, shape, or form. It's bizarre.
Could this have been to do with the World Cup?
Yes. Yes, the World Cup that we weren't in.
Yeah. I'm clutching at straws here because to me, and please forgive me, I'm sure I must be terribly wrong, but a man dressed as Captain America driving basically a mobile flag with a stuffed eagle on top is trying to make a statement here, and I'm not quite sure to whom.
He's making a statement that he's overcompensating for something. We just don't know exactly what.
Yes. Well, what could he be overcompensating for? Because we assume he's American, or maybe
that's a fair assumption.
Or maybe he just wants really badly to be one. And
maybe he's one of these illegal immigrants and he's trying to pass in plain sight.
Yes.
He's hoping Trump sees that photo and says, you know what, just give him citizenship. He'll be fine.
He's making America great again.
Yes.
That's right.
GRATE.
So I had a story about customer service stuff, but whatever. But what's interesting, as we're talking about the flag, and Kathy mentioned about how Americans just wave it and make a big deal about being overly patriot, showing patriotism at any time, not just for the World Cup or the Olympics or anything like that.
Well, while you're talking, I'm just thinking USA, USA,
just randomly in the middle of nowhere. Yes, that would happen. So in my hometown, where I'm from, in Cleveland, Ohio, there in the last couple years has been this growing amount of civic pride. The town was known for many years in the 70s and 80s as a joke. It went through some really bad economic times, but now it's growing again, and there's a lot of good things going on there. But because of that, there was a really negative connotation about the city, and it was the butt of a lot of a joke, and still to this day can be. So now you see residents that are overcompensating, constantly wearing T-shirts, gloating about being from Cleveland or living in Cleveland or living in the state of Ohio, like with little puns like Cleveland that I love playing up on the song. And it's so normal to be back home. There's, I think, 5 or 6 brands now that have stores and websites. And no joke, probably over half, maybe 75% of the time, if I'm walking around in public, people are wearing those shirts. And not 75% of the time that I'm out in public, but 75% of the people I would see are wearing it. That's not an exaggeration.
Now, are they doing it?
After living in New York, too, when you see tourists come in and buy I Love New York shirts, then they wear that and when they go back. But you don't see New Yorkers wearing "I love New York."
Yes,
don't
good
do that.
point. That's exactly it.
God, yeah. Unless they're being ironic.
No,
Americans don't do that.
Because I've got a T-shirt that says Milton Keynes City of Dreams on it.
Oh, that's
I'm
funny.
particularly proud of it.
Yeah.
See, that's funny, but it's not. There are some jokes in some of them that are kind of inside jokes, but overall, though, no, they just will have the outline of the state of Ohio with the word love in it. Of hey, we love our state, we love our city. Okay, that's great, but no one outside of that bubble cares.
Yeah.
It's this overcompensating. This we felt so bad about ourselves for so many years, and it's almost as if. And I can't believe I'm actually saying this because I honestly feel this way about my country as well. For those that are just overly patriotic or show too much of civic pride, it's almost as if they are overcompensating for something, whether it's their life, not doing something, not feeling connected to something. There is this need that you have to feel part of this bigger community, almost as if you can't feel comfortable in yourself and doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Because when I point that out to people back home, I get so much crap for it.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? You're from here, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's it. It feels like a defensive move, though. You're right.
It feels defensive. It feels also like they have... I don't know, like you say, there's a hole in them or something. It's weird because we're pathologizing something that should be very straightforward, which is civic pride, and that's nice. And I guess they're saying in a way, hey, we've come through the bad times and now we've hung a few flower baskets around the town center and things are looking up and yay for us. But it does seem almost like a sense of denial, like there's more important things in life to celebrate.
And then, guys, you've got Texas, who I think is like, that is something else, isn't it, for quote unquote pride with a capital P?
Well, because the thing about Texas is that they sort of feel like they're their own country anyway, and there's always that talk of secession, and so I think that's what that's all about.
Yeah. They were at one point, so they still think that they are. They think that they're all special that way.
Yeah.
And in many ways, they are special.
Well, in a special quotation mark sort of way, but they, so they have sort of almost a chip on their shoulder, like we're our own place.
If you are from Texas and you want to say something about that, 0344 499 1000. Hey, Matt, good to speak to you. We've got to go, but thanks for ringing.
Have a great night, ladies.
You too. And if you want to give us a call, 0344 499 1000 is the number to ring.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
That story there was something I was going to talk to you about, actually, right?
I just did an inadvertent, just like, ah, when I heard that.
Well, yeah. This is TUI Airways, and I picked out the Mail Online earlier on. TUI Airways in sexism row after Welsh government official slams airline staff for giving stickers to boys that say future captain while handing girls ones that read future cabin crew.
That is outrageous.
I mean, really? I mean, unless you're ask the kid which one they want.
Yeah, right.
Is the answer?
Yeah.
Please tell me they're not pink and blue. Let's have a look. We've got to see if there's a picture here. Oh yeah, well they're both. They're not. They look pink and blue. They look like they could be interchangeable.
Yeah, they look interchangeable.
So I wonder whether it was just the cabin crew's decision to do it that way. But God, what a blunder, especially at the moment.
Oh, that is ridiculous. That reminds me, there was that great story, I think it was like last month or something, this woman who's a pilot for an airline company posted on Facebook a really great post about all the comments that she gets from men. Did you guys talk about that already?
No, we didn't, but I did read it. Go on, go on.
Oh, yeah. Like people a little concerned that a woman is at the helm and, does she know the way and has she done this before and offering helpful tips. I mean,
blokes who can't, open a cabin door without someone's help, never mind.
Yeah,
fly
right.
A plane.
Triggering full mansplaining from all and sundry in the area. But it is quite incredible. Quite incredible.
I don't know. There's still a bit of that, isn't there? There's still a bit of that. I mean, I expect that out of, how many people on a plane? 200, 300?
Sure.
There'll be a couple of tossers on there, won't there, that have to say something because they're taken by surprise.
Yeah. It is that sort of thing where it's like some of the people...
It's like, I've noticed you're a woman. Yeah. I'm going to say something fun about that.
Yeah. It's almost the gender version of, we were talking about elderly people from other generations who have to kind of go, oh, you're a black person. I have to just keep announcing that when I talk to you.
Because that's the first thing they see.
Yeah, and almost the only thing they see.
Yeah.
Like, they have to objectify the person, and they can't kind of get past the, like, oh, you're an orange cat versus a calico cat, and I have to just keep saying you're a ginger kitten.
But my name is Fluffy. This story, though, got me thinking about, I took my kids to this amazing, like, experience place. It's in Westfield. It's called KidZania. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I know all about this.
Right, it's incredible.
I mean, I haven't been there. You know more about it than I do.
Well, I've been there, and
okay. Tell me.
We sat in the queues. We learned. I taught my kids about Touch the Van.
What's that?
Well, in KidZania, there are loads of different. It's like a city indoors that's purely set out for children. And what they do is they choose different careers, and each career involves, maybe a 15-minute, maybe a 20-minute kind of
tutorial.
Yeah, like a tutorial. So the first thing the girls got involved with was, and to be honest, we just went around there. It was really busy because obviously it's the school holidays. We just looked for the shortest queues and the things that they could get into, so that they could have as many different. Because I think you book a sort of 4-hour experience, and in that they say to you, you'll be lucky if you get more than 4 activities, because you spend a lot of time queuing up. So we were looking for the smallest queues. So the first thing they did was they were working in an innocent smoothie factory, and they put them in the hairnets and the white coats and everything, and they sit them down as if it's their first day, and they talk them through, I guess, making smoothies and stuff. And I don't think with innocent smoothies they got to actually make anything, but they felt like they were. And at the end they get paid. They get paid in this money, KidZos they're called.
Okay.
And then the next thing, the girls after then sort of went off on their own. And I think if they're older, they can do it by themselves. But my youngest is only 6, so I was kind of with her. But my eldest, after that point, was like, right, I want to do this. And the youngest said, I'm going to do that. She wanted to be a radio presenter, my youngest. So we got in the queue for that. And it's Global, who obviously run LBC and all those people. They've got like a little radio station there, and the kids all sit around in a studio with their microphones on, and they read scripts and they record it and they play it back to them. My youngest absolutely loved it. But for each of those kind of more, my eldest, meanwhile, was at Al Jazeera doing television. And again, it was like they sit on a bench outside the studio and wait for their turn, and they let, maybe 4 or 5 kids in at a time. And they get this kind of one-on-one experience of it. And it's really clever marketing, actually, for all these companies, because they're getting them young.
Yeah.
And then at the end of your experience, you'll get, varying amounts. On the outside of each building, it's got how much you will earn for doing your job there.
Wow, it's even better than an apprenticeship.
Yeah, it's great. So they were sitting outside, and my eldest said, oh, but that looks like a really long queue. And I went, yeah, well, sit there. You never know what's going to happen. And that was the same thing with the youngest one as well. And what we found was there were always kids that would drop out. So if there were 6 kids in the line, I'd say, do you know what? I'd stick it out anyway, because at some point these guys are going to get fed up. And sure enough, half the time they did. So I was telling them about Touch the Van, which was a competition I don't think you're allowed to do anymore, but it was really popular with commercial radio stations for years, which is they would get a brand new van or car, put it in the middle of a shopping centre, and they would have a competition whereby you had to keep your hand on the van for as long as possible. And people were like there for hours and hours, not eating and stuff, passing out. A bit like those old dancing competitions they used to have.
They
just
shoot
like
horses,
endurance.
Don't they? Yeah.
So, but I don't think they're allowed to do them anymore. But I was saying it's all about determination, And
it's a war of attrition.
And as they were sitting outside, like the media jobs in particular, I was thinking, God, this is a lot like my course. There's a lot of us to start with, but by the end, there's about 3 or 4 left that actually get to the thing. But they absolutely loved it. And at the end, you get to go and spend your wages in the gift shop. I mean, it has to be said, though, unless you buy extra money, you can afford a key ring or something.
Yes.
But they loved it because they'd earned that money themselves.
Yeah, although that's sort of like surf wages. Like they're kind of preparing you for living in a company town.
The best example of that was my youngest went past the hotel. She went, I think I'll go and work in the hotel for a bit. And there doesn't seem to be a queue. And I was thinking, good girl, she's worked out what's what.
Yeah.
And she went and sat in there. And what they did was they showed them this hotel room all made up.
Yeah.
Then they kicked all the kids out, closed the door, and the guy went in there by himself. And then when he came out, he'd wrecked it. Yes. And their job was to go in and make the bed.
Yes.
And I thought, right, we can go home and play hotels anytime we like.
Yes. Well, see, this is funny because when this KidZania thing first started a couple of years ago, I was so tickled to read about it because they said that, I think it's from Mexico is where this thing started.
I think it started out there, yeah.
And it turned out that the job that the children loved doing the most and kids flocked to it was stacking shelves at grocery stores.
Yes.
So
that's
like,
the first thing my eldest wanted to do.
No kidding.
Yes.
That is so, it's just like, hey, wage slave, it may come to that, but let's set our sights just a little bit higher.
Well, yeah, she was, that's the one she had picked out, because beforehand we told her that, right, there are these jobs, what do you fancy doing? She went, I really fancy working in the supermarket. Oh, fair enough. But I wonder whether that's because
they can visualize it. They have personal experience. They're like, okay, I think I know the ropes. Yeah, I won't make a fool out of myself.
But there was also a British Airways thing. And on one side, there was a really long queue for pilots, mostly boys, I've got to say. And on the other side, cabin crew, all girls.
Oh, my God.
And my youngest said, I want to join that. I wanted to get on this side, it's cabin crew. She said, because the queue is shorter. And I went, okay. And I felt like I should have been pushing her to get in the longer queue. But she loved it. But it has to be said, they were all girls in that queue.
Interesting. You're socialized, from a young age to please. Yeah. And, there's an element, I mean, obviously when you're cabin crew, you know how to do things like open the door of a submerged airplane, upside down, and how to save people's lives. You know how to do all that stuff, but you also know how to be pleasant and hand out the whiskey.
Yeah, my sister was cabin crew, and she, they had people dying on board. She had to administer CPR at one point. They do get trained in the event of an accident, fire training and all that stuff. They're incredibly qualified, and they work bloody hard.
Yes, they do.
And it plays merry hell with their digestion and their sleep patterns and all sorts.
Yes.
So they're incredible people. Again, why I get annoyed when people are horrible to them. But that whole thing of, I was really kind of pushing my daughters to, why don't you go and be a firefighter? No, I want to go and work in the supermarket. You just think,
I think everybody likes this. I don't know. There's something comforting and soothing about stacking shelves, perhaps. Organizing.
I wish she was into tidying up at home. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well, let's have a quick word with Louise. Hiya, Louise.
Hello.
So I was yammering on and you're waiting. Sorry.
That's okay. I was really interested. That sounded really good. I'll have to do that with my little boy, I think.
It's really fun. They love it, but be prepared to queue.
Yeah, I think so. I was just listening. I've just caught the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the show. I'm driving back from my holiday. We've just come back from Canada.
Oh.
And I was just thinking about how the flag flying in America, very, very similar in Canada. The pride over there is immense. And everyone, we went to stay in Winnipeg, we would stay with relatives, and they're so patriotic and so in love with their town and their city and their country, and really, really show it. And it made me think about how a couple of years ago, obviously in England, when we've got sport events, everyone rallies round and suddenly England's great because it's a sports event.
Yeah.
But typically we don't kind of have that pride on a day-to-day basis. And I'm sat here thinking, you know what, I'm going to start bigging up my town. We're going back to Northampton, that's where I live. And I'm going to, I'm probably one of the first people to say, oh yeah, you don't want to come here. It's got no this and it's got no that. But there are so many nice things it's got and so many great things that our country's got. And I just forget, you sort of just go along the treadmill of doom and gloom, and it is really quite depressing, I think.
I tell you what, it is interesting. If you talk to an Australian, right, every single Australian you speak to, generally, or every single Australian I've spoken to, always sounds like they've been employed by the Australian Tourist Board. Their lifestyle is the best. You're going to love it. If you came over, we would have a barbecue on the beach. They seem to be really in love with their country, and I wonder whether it's, again, a new country thing.
Yeah, I don't know. About 20 years ago, I lived abroad. I lived in America for a few years, and I had have a nice day, and everything's great, and it was brilliant for the first couple of months, and then after a year or two, I didn't like it anymore, and I came back to England, and I came into Manchester Airport, and I just remember seeing this cleaner, the first English person I saw as I walked through the door with this cleaner, and she looked miserable. And I looked at her and made eye contact and smiled, and she was just like, ugh. And I thought, oh, brilliant, I'm back home again. This is what I like. I like misery. And it just really sort of, it generated something in me of just how, I don't know, we're a bit doom and gloom and miserable, and that's the British way, really.
Maybe a bit. I think we're a bit more self-conscious of, of that and how people perceive us. But I'm surprised you got that in Manchester. They're generally a friendly bunch there, I mean, comparatively.
Oh, I had it today, exactly the same thing today. When we came into Manchester Airport, there was this lady, and her face was she looked like she was on Coronation Street. Her face was just upside down and not a smile in the world. And I was like, yep, I know that face. That's the kind of face I'm used to.
Welcome home, love.
It was, but in saying that, my parents are Jamaican, so I'm Jamaican heritage. And a couple of years, when the Olympics were on, I was lucky enough to go to the 100-metre finals to see Usain Bolt, who I'm celebrating, as well as all of our British athletes as well. And I wanted to find a T-shirt that would commemorate that, or something that I could wear that would commemorate it. And I couldn't find anything anywhere, nothing saying, great to be British, or, proud to be Jamaican. So I had to design my own, which I did. So I got a T-shirt made. It had the Union Jack on the front with great to be British on the front of it. And on the back, I got the Jamaican flag saying proud to be Jamaican on the back, because Jamaican pride is like our logo, slogan, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's in our part of our culture. And it was just really good to be able to wear that. And I had a big smile on my face for the whole day. But I just don't know if I wanted to find something. When they say you can go and you can find shops in America or in Canada that are selling merchandise, unless you're in London, you don't get that anywhere else in England.
No, you're right.
Although, you don't get it in a mall.
I tell you what I've noticed in Manchester, and it's since the bombing at the Ariana Grande concert. There are shops, Manchester Pride shops, and they're brilliant.
That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because the bee is massive now. Because obviously the bee is the symbol of the town, the worker bee. And so they've got and it's raising money basically for the victims and the families.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
That's the identity, and that's the culture, and that's something that everyone in that town and city can get behind and be proud of.
Yeah.
And there isn't enough of that I don't think personally, there isn't enough of that in our towns and cities.
Well, it seems to be, and in that case, obviously, they're making a statement and they're trying to make something positive out of something absolutely appalling that happened, and they're making some money and they're doing their bit. It seems to be that it's always making some sort of political statement if you're wearing a flag these days.
It is, but it has to come from, something that's happened has had to raise that. It's not sort of something that's generated by a community before a tragedy or an incident has happened. It's not like kind of, hey, let's get behind our town. In Northampton, we had these painted, I think in other towns as well, you get painted animals. We had gorillas in Northampton for a few years. All around the place were these massive gorillas, painted gorillas, and it was an art project. And I've seen them in different places. You get lions or elephants in different towns. I don't know what happened to them, but they generated some interest. And it was like, all right, gorillas of Northampton, that's interesting. And it started off, you'd have people talking about them, but of course then the project ended, they were taken away and whatever, and people had stopped talking about it. But it was just something that was really nice that, got people talking about their town and interested in their town and celebrating, where they're from, just for a little while.
It's so it's interesting just hearing you talk about that, Louise, because there I was snarkily scoffing, 10, 15 minutes ago about Americans overdoing it. And now, with what you're saying, I agree with you. It's a nice community thing that you can look across at your neighbor and it's like, local pride.
Yeah, but what she's talking about is, maybe a pin badge or a T-shirt. She's not talking about painting her van, I love Northampton, and having, I don't know, a big shoe. Because they're famous for shoes there, aren't they? A big shoe on top of it. And
Well, on Facebook, I belong to a couple of Facebook groups. I belong to like a Northampton Now and Then Facebook group, and I was born in Huddersfield, so I belong to a Huddersfield one as well. And it's all about how great it was in the olden days. And lots of these sort of pictures comparing then and now. And look, we had lovely architecture and buildings, and now look at it, it's all boarded up, and it's just. No. It really is just a comparison of what's gone wrong, rather than let's celebrate it. I'm going to have a look when I get home. I'm going to log on to Facebook. I'm going to look and see if there are some let's celebrate our town Facebook pages
as it is.
As opposed to just I
know what you mean. I've seen those pages, and what it really is I was happier when I was younger.
Everything was better.
Or remember that, or it is, and tends to be a lot about pubs.
I was drunker when I was younger.
Yeah, when the pubs were around and what kind of pubs they are, and all the street now it's a sorry state and it's shut down. But yeah, I just think it was an interesting conversation. It made me think, because I'm 44 now and kind of, I've got children, and just made me think how aware I am now of how easy it is to fall into rubbishing where I'm from or what I've experienced and how better it was.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of human nature. You do that. You evolve. You grow up that grumpy old man syndrome and what have you.
But what I'm hearing from you, though, is not I was born in such a place, so I'm better than you, and I'm going to tell you that we are different. Because you seem to like to take a little piece of wherever you land.
Yeah, I do. And, it's like I say, talking to my relatives in Canada and, like, organising trips for them to come back over and visit us, and I'm thinking, right, okay, making little snarky jokes about, oh, well, if I were you, I'd save my money and go to the Caribbean or something. Making little jokes like that, but actually, that is a negative comment. No matter if it's banter behind it or if it's a joke, it is a negative thing to say as opposed to a positive thing. Yeah. And I think I'm going to try harder to say positive things because, it'll mean something. It will have a difference on what people think about what I say and where I come from and what I think about where I am.
Yes.
And especially I live in the town that I live in. I'm lucky enough to live in.
Yeah.
So, just thought I'd let you know that. It was interesting for me.
Oh, well, I like you.
Yeah,
I like
do.
your attitude, Louise.
I think you're lovely. Will you call us again?
I would love to, yeah.
Do it.
I'm not... as I say, I'm just driving home. I'm coming back from a very, very, very long day. I've got Brighton tomorrow. I've got Scotland on Saturday.
Blimey.
And, Judith Charm, as they call me. But it was great listening, and it just resonated so much with me coming back from that side of the world, the other side of the transatlantic flight, and how different it is.
Wow, it's brilliant. Thanks very much for ringing, Louise. Take care of yourself and try and get a bit of rest, because it sounds to me like she's spreading herself a little bit thin there.
Yeah, she's multitasking.
Global traveller. 0344 499 1000. We've got quite a few calls, but I've always got room for you if you want to give us a ring. You can text talk and your message if you prefer to 87222, and that'll cost you 25p per message on top of your standard network rate. That was a bit fast, wasn't it? It's 87222 and you put talk at the beginning. Or you can tweet us at Talk Radio. You're listening to The Late Night Alternative. My name is Katherine Boyle.
And I'm Katie Puckrick.
And who are you?
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
Blimey, the phones are, people are phoning. Let's speak to Tracy. Hiya, Tracy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm a bit shy.
Go on, Tracy. I know it's your first time, so we'll be very gentle.
It's just basically, I don't know if anyone's interested about it, but I'm just thinking what you think about these free dating sites where you don't have to pay, because I've had some quite bad experiences. I've been out with a few guys, been on dates and blah, 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 but they just sort of, take one look at you and then they don't want to know you again. I don't know if it's all to do with looks on a person. Why can't people just take you for who you are?
So, Tracy,
why is it all to do with looks?
Let's go back to, so these are the free dating sites, what, like...
Piece of fish.
Tinder, piece of fish.
Yeah, isn't that one?
Piece of fish.
Plenty of fish, yeah, and... plenty
is that
of
right?
Fish, I think.
Yeah,
plenty of fish.
Is that one?
Plenty of fish.
Yeah, not piece of fish, that's something else. But are you talking about Tinder as well? Because that is very looks orientated.
No, I'm not on Tinder.
Right.
No.
Bumble?
No, I'm just basically been on Plenty of Fish.
Oh, Plenty of Fish.
The other one was called Girls Date for Free.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's OkCupid.
Seem to have no luck really on them, obviously you put pictures up with who you are and blah, 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 and tell them about yourself, and then, they sort of say, yeah, we'll meet you go on a date, and then, it's okay, and then you don't see them again, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Let's take this apart. Right. So the pictures you're putting up, be honest, do they look like you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, just a normal, average girl,
Okay. And are you taking them from any sort of tricky angles? Are we doing cleavage?
No, just my face only, really.
Right, I was going to say, because, that attracts a certain kind of guy.
Right.
And the blokes that you're meeting, do they look like their profiles?
Yes, they do, actually, yeah. I've never had anyone, sort of a bad one,
And what are they? What do you write about yourself in your little description?
Well, I just keep it short and sweet. I don't sort of do a long profile going on and on and on.
Yeah.
I just get straight to the point and tell them about me and what I like doing, what my hobbies and interests are.
Yeah.
Where I live, and and then I ask them questions like, are you a car owner and things like that, and basically what I'm looking for in life,
Yeah, and I'm really curious about this personally because I'm single and I've been curious about possibly going on dating sites, but it does seem kind of scary, like you're putting yourself up for an audition and
potentially to be rejected,
which is what you sort of say that you're experiencing. Yeah. And what is your feeling of the men? Like, do you feel like you would be up for seeing them for a follow-up date?
Yes, some of them have been okay. We've got on well, but I think it's just, I don't know, I'm just thinking it's all to do with looks. Guys are just after a certain look of a woman, and I don't think it should be about looks all the time.
Unfortunately, the success of those sites, I think, is just based on visuals. But here's the thing that I would posit is you've already passed the looks test by the fact that
they liked your picture.
They liked your picture. And I think it might be something else because there is that kind of psychological thing, and guys might be more prone to this than women. I'm not really sure. But that idea of plenty of fish. Well, she seemed nice, but who else is out there? Yeah. So it might be a case of let's just keep going and keep going and keep going because there could be somebody else even better.
It sounds to me like you want to meet someone nice and you're in this seriously. Do you feel like the men are after something? I'm just going to say it. Are the men up for a hookup or are they serious, do you think?
Well, I've had a couple that are just basically after one thing, and obviously they've told me that. Even on the first date, and said, "Look, this is what I'm after." So yes, I have had a few people saying they are just after fun, basically. So I just don't know if there's plenty of fish or any sort of these free dating sites. Do they work, or am I better going on a paid dating site? Would I get something more better?
I would feel like, and this is obviously I'm talking completely out of ignorance, but I would feel like if they've paid some money, there is a bit more commitment there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's worth giving it a try because you've given it a good old fair shake on the freebies. And how many dates would you estimate that you've been on?
About 6. That was on Plenty of Fish because that's the only one I've been on, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had a tweet through from Leslie White who says it's not the caller or your photo. Plenty of Fish is brutal. My friend is gorgeous and has had an awful time on there.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So I wonder whether there is something in that feeling of, from the title, Plenty of Fish. I mean, who's the fish in this scenario?
Yes. Yeah. Who's the fisherman and who's the fish-y? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, now yes. Well, there you go then. I think I've put the...
Yeah, maybe shop around. Maybe shop around and try. Because I don't know if Bumble is something that's just in America, but
I've heard of it on American podcasts, but I don't know if let's have a look.
Because the thing about that is that the women, it apparently gives more kind of play to the women and allows them to make the choices. So it's sort of directed by the women and is more empowering.
Yeah, here it is. Look, there's Bumble.com. Oh, it might be. It looks like Bumble is here because it's saying, you can download your number and it's presenting you with the +44 so to start with. So it would seem, have a look at that because as you were saying there, the first thing I'm seeing is from the Evening Standard, and this is a really recent article. Everything you need to know about using dating apps in 2018. They've changed the methods of courtship. Here are the apps to try out. Okay, get a pen.
All right.
Hang on. I've got a pen.
Okay, Badoo. Right, first of all, Badoo, to meet anyone. Launched by Russian tech entrepreneur Andrei Andreev, Badoo is the biggest dating app in the world. The app launched 3 years before Tinder and now has 380 million, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Bumble, to meet the nice guy. Bumble's unique selling point is that it challenges female users to make the first move, basically eliminating the bro culture of other dating platforms.
That's what I'm saying.
There we go. On Bumble, hang on a sec. In traditional apps where women match with guys, the unspoken rule is that they hesitate to initiate a conversation for fear of seeming weird or desperate. On Bumble, women have no choice in the matter. That's an interesting one. Bristler, if you like your men hairy. Do you like your men hairy?
Doesn't bother me. It's a man's a man to me.
Well, if you like beards, or if you own a beard, I think they're talking about men with beards, but I don't know. It's 2018. Do you exclusively date men with beards? Then listen up, because this is the app for you. Bristler, spelt BRISTLR, is basically a niche dating pool of exclusively bearded men and people who want to date them.
Yeah, that's being a little too fussy, I think.
Well, Chappie for Mr. Right. Oh, hang on. Gay men. Move on. That's not for you. Coffee meets bagel to meet the one. Oh, here's one. It's been described as the anti-Tinder, and with good reason too. Coffee Meets Bagel's radical focus is on the quality of matches it offers rather than an endless sea of faces you find yourself vacantly swiping through elsewhere. Every day you'll be offered just one single holy grail match based on information you've already inputted on your taste, preferences and hobbies. Don't like what you see? Hold your horses. Wait till tomorrow. No one said true love was easy to find.
Oh, I like it. It's sort of slow dating app.
So that's Coffee Meets Bagel.
Coffee Meets Bagel and Bumble.
Yeah,
I think those two are good for you.
Here's one that sounds a bit more cutthroat, but let's give it a shout, right? Do I Date for rating dates. Do I Date is one of the newest dating apps on the scene, which sees users leaving reviews for the people they've dated. I mean, handy for you, but also, oh God, imagine them writing about you.
No.
Oh wow, that sounds good.
The app's founders Terry Amsbury and Jamie Forsyth say it's about adding transparency to online dating. Actually, that would be useful, wouldn't it? Because it would stop you having to have those awkward conversations at the end where he's up for something and you're not.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, Grindr, again, not for you. Let's move on. Happen to meet the girl at your local coffee shop. Got your eye on the local barista? Oh, this is another niche one. Do you like coffee workers?
No, not really into coffee.
Yeah, okay.
Not going to work then. Happen. Hater for hating.
I think I've got a few there to be going on with, I think.
Well, there's one called Hater. Dream of finding the person who hates the same things as you.
Yeah, that'd be obvious.
That sounds very British.
Oh, God. Hater is the dating app for you. Instead of faces, you match with people depending on topical talking points, whether that's your feelings on Trump or Putin or rage-inducing topics like slow walkers.
No, I don't think that's for me.
Hater. If I'm ever single, that's the first one I'm going on.
Hater. You're just writing that down right now.
Just in case, you never know.
Yeah, just in case you have to make a selection between a kitten and your husband.
And the kitten wins.
Yes.
Well, look, I would be really, really intrigued if you try any of these. Tell me how you get on.
I'll give you a shout and let you know.
Yes, please do.
And I'll let you know if I found the man of my dreams one day.
Which one are you leaning towards at this point?
I think the coffee meat, probably.
Coffee meets bagel.
Is it the Bristler?
Bristler is the beardy one, yeah.
And Bumble.
Yeah, I don't mind that. And the Bumble.
Yeah.
Bumble?
Yeah, Bumble.
I'll be busy tomorrow now.
Yeah, we're going to have a busy weekend.
Oh, God.
Anyway, thanks for your time, guys.
Hey, no problem. Nice to speak to you.
I'm enjoying the show, and tell Ian we're all missing him, and I'll let you know how we'll go on with everything.
Brilliant. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
It sounds like fun, but it also sounds hellish.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's putting herself out there. It's very courageous to do that, because it's hard enough to muster your self-esteem and your confidence when you're dating somebody for the first time who you know. So to do a complete blind date.
Yeah, it's really brave.
Yeah, it's very brave.
But I remember, when I got together with my husband, it was like, we got married in 2008. Before that, we were together for years. I've never been in this kind of environment where it's swiping and picking people from profiles and all this stuff. And I did know a couple from about the time we got together who'd found each other on a dating site, and it was kind of whispered about because it was weird. Yes. But now you're weird if you've not been on these things.
Yeah, I'm totally in the weird bunch because I've never ever done it. But teenagers do it, 20-somethings do it, and it's completely normal.
Yeah, everyone's doing it, apparently.
Yeah.
Plenty of fish, though, sounds like a
piece of fish. As I like to call it. Grandma here.
Let's have a quick word with Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jasmine's in Switzerland.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you up to, Jasmine?
I'm working on a new project right now that could possibly help thousands of people.
Oh.
And I know it sounds big and you might not believe it, but, a lot of people are wearing glasses and they just accept it. It's normal. And, I've been wearing glasses for about 22 years now, and I really have enough now. So I thought, what if you could go back to your normal eyesight without any surgery or something? And then I started doing some research on it.
And
so the goal of the project is to prove that it's actually possible to get rid of your glasses and see clearly again in only 8 months' time with doing a special training for the eye muscles. But the thing is that it's not just the eye muscles, it's also the brain that makes the important part of it because it guides the muscles. So the real work begins there to tell the brain how to use the muscles in the right way.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
It almost sounds psychological.
Yes, of course, it's also a psychological thing. You should ask yourself, where would you be in life if you haven't had glasses? Who would you be? I mean, I've been wearing glasses for such a long time now, and I really have to ask myself those questions.
Are you saying that you have 20/20 eyesight now?
No, I have third dioptry and first astigmatism.
Right. So how long have you been doing these exercises, and when do you expect to be able to throw the glasses in the bin forever?
It's not sure because a lot of people have very bad eyes, and there's also people who only have to wear glasses on a computer, so it really depends on the person itself. But I'm going to do it during 8 months and then make kind of like a summary of it, and maybe I have to carry on afterwards.
And is this completely your theory, or are you getting some guidance from, I don't know, an optician or a doctor, an ophthalmologist?
No, unfortunately not. But I've done a lot of research during the last few months, and now I've put together some exercises. Then I developed them, and now I'm about to combine it so I can do a daily training.
Do you wear glasses? I've got contact lenses in now.
I wear glasses for astigmatism.
Oh, no.
Yeah, me too. So can you give us a little bit of I mean, I'm not going to take my contact lenses out because I didn't bring my specs, but could you give us something to work on maybe at home? I'll remember, I'll write it down.
Oh, yeah. What's a good exercise?
Yes, I'm working on a lot of things now. I also made a channel on Periscope where I will be streaming that in about a month. Because I'm still improving it and not sure yet how to go on without it.
And when I watch you on Periscope, do I do it with the naked eye, or do I do it with the old lenses, or do I do it with my specs? Is it partly on, partly off, or are we ditching them and never going back?
The theory is that you should only wear glasses when you really, really need them.
Okay.
Because otherwise,
which could be all the time. Right.
And then the eyes get weaker.
I think that's good advice, though, because some people just get used to wearing glasses all the time. And the idea is your eyes need to, like she was saying, the muscles need to adjust, contract, stretch, do all those sort of things as you shift focus from long distance to close up. And so if you're wearing glasses all the time, you're obviating the need to do that. You're kind of leaning on the crutch of your glasses.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm already halfway there with your techniques. I can't wait to see. So you're going to have a how-to.
I mean, she sounds legit, doesn't she? It sounds like it could work.
I used to live for a couple of years when I was a child in Moscow, and I was losing the ability to read the chalkboard in class. And I went to a Russian eye doctor, and he told me about doing eye exercises whereby you'd stand at a window and you would focus on something like your hand. You'd put your thumb up in front of your face, like a foot away from your face. You'd look at that, and then you would shift focus to the building across the street and stare at that for a minute, and then you'd come back to your hand. So the idea was to keep shifting focus. So I'm wondering if that's part of your technique, Jasmine.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of another thing of it, and a bit more stretching the eye muscles. But that what you said sounds like you're training myopia. That's the same as I'm doing, but I also have an astigmatism. I'm working on that, but I'm also going to work on hyperopia because it's kind of like the opposite of myopia. So it's going to be easy to just do the same exercises, just in another way.
Well, I'm gripped.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk in 8 months' time or sooner. Once that periscope is up and running, I want to have a go at it because, frankly, I mean, some people say men don't make passes so girls wear glasses. It's no longer the 1950s, but you get the drift. I would rather be able to ditch my glasses.
Yeah, although, did you hear about that story about the woman who she thought she had a cyst in her eye for 18 years, and it turned out it was a contact lens that was stuck in her eye from when she was a teenager. And they went to go dig it out, and they went, yeah, so you don't want that.
No one wants that. Jasmine, keep us updated.
Of course.
Goodbye.
I'm going to make videos.
Yeah, I bet you are. Goodbye, Jasmine. Dr. Jasmine.
Goodbye. She's a dynamo.
She is. She does all sorts of projects, and they're all like that.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Renaissance woman.
She certainly is. She has a lot of time. Hello, Kevin.
Hello. Kevin?
Hello.
Kevin. Hi.
Hello.
Quiet, Kevin in Stoke-on-Trent.
Shh, Kevin. Kevin speaking quietly. Hello.
Hello, is this Katie or Catherine?
Which one do you think?
Which one do you
I
think?
know. I'll speak first. I'll speak first. Who's this?
I'm not sure. I'll just turn this radio off.
Okay.
There we go.
And now I'm talking. Who's this?
My name's Kevin.
Oh.
He's got you there.
He's got me there. Hi, Kevin.
Why did you ring us, Kevin? And we're thrilled you did.
I was listening earlier, and I think your earlier caller was named Tracy.
Yes. Dating Tracy.
Tracy Datey, who's on Plenty of Fish.
Yes.
She sounds a lovely woman. Lady, in fact. I'm just wondering if she knows the ratio of men to ladies on Plenty of Fish.
Oh. Do you know?
No, I don't know, but I'm guessing it's got to be 500 to 1 or maybe more.
Why are you so interested in the mathematics, Kevin?
Well, basically because Tracy said that she's managed to go on 6 dates, I think she said.
Yes.
And I'm struggling to even get a date.
Gosh, how could that be?
Well, maybe it is because of my looks. I don't know.
What do you look like? If we were to compare, if we were to get an actor to play you in a film,
a looky-likey,
but one that looked like you, who would we pick?
James Whale.
Oh, okay. Well, some people like that.
James Whale's looking good these days.
He totally is.
He certainly is. Although I have trimmed my beard.
He's looking quite... Did he shave his head, James Whale, recently?
He's been like that for a while.
Oh, okay, all right. I haven't seen him.
Well, so have I, actually. Is this Katie or Catherine? I've not quite picked up your voices yet.
Well, here's a clue. One of us is English. One of us is American.
One of us is American, and one of us is English. But we're both mellifluous speakers.
Well, I'm guessing I'm speaking to the American.
Right now, you're speaking to me, but you are actually
also speaking to me.
Yes, so it's 2 for the price of 1.
You're not giving me many clues, are you?
Tony, you've been listening for months. One of us is always on this show, and one of us
is hardly ever on this show, and one of us does not.
My name's Kevin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, Kevin, even right. Kevin, you ring a lot. You sound like a Tony. Are you sure your name isn't Tony?
I would say it's mistaken identities all around.
Why are you calling yourself Kevin?
Because that's my name. I wanted to ring up and speak to James earlier, But unfortunately, I'd forgotten your number.
Oh.
And it's not in my phone.
Oh. Well, shall I give you the number?
Yes, please do,
Okay.
so that every other listener may want to ring up.
Have you got a pen?
Well, eventually, after trying several times, I managed to find the number, being 0344, and then is it 911,000?
Nope.
See, I must be quite close, surely.
Well, you must be. Try again.
Eventually, I managed to get through, didn't I?
Did you write it down, or did you just dial it as I was saying it?
Like a chimpanzee just pounding a keyboard until you came up with Shakespeare.
I'd like to consider myself, with a little bit more IQ level than a chimpanzee.
Oh, they're very smart.
Although we all know where we came from, don't we?
Yeah, you're from Stoke.
Can you tell by my accent?
I can tell by your phone number, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I can tell by your accent, of course.
Yeah. Well, there were plenty of points I wanted to talk to James about.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to discuss them with you, Katie, and Catherine.
Now, you're all right. Give him a ring tomorrow. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number for anyone else who wants to speak to us. James Whale is on between 7 and 10.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you.
On Talk Radio.
See, this is where you come in, dear listener, because we are scratching around with very, very little to back it up when it comes to these online dating sites. But Emma has sent me a tweet saying, Badoo is vile. Meat market. Bumble is okay.
Okay, good. There you go.
If you've been on one of these sites, give us a shout, please.
So helpful.
499 1000. Yeah, it is.
Someone who's been in the trenches, has sampled the delights, and has lived to tell the tale.
And anyone who's actually met someone that they liked on there.
Oh, that'd be good to know.
Be excellent. We had someone ring up once who was telling us about this nightmare dating story, and then the person they dated phoned up.
How satisfying.
I mean, it was delicious, but I did feel sorry for, I felt sorry for both of them, actually. But
And did the person confirm or deny the allegations, the one who called up?
Confirmed.
Confirmed, and they were, in fact, a nightmare.
Well, if they just weren't the right fit, they wanted different things, that thing.
Yeah.
And I could see where both of them were coming from, but she kind of liked him, and he obviously didn't, but he was one of these nice guys, and then afterwards, if I remember rightly, I don't think he ghosted her, but pretty much.
Yeah, that's the thing about social media, is that it is so tempting just to disappear. Because
it feels kinder. It's kinder to you, because you don't have to confront the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very gentlemanly.
No, I did it once, so I ghosted someone once. Before it was called ghosting, it was just called running away.
Yeah, running away. Yes.
I went back to university and never phoned him again. But which wasn't very nice. But sometimes it's easier than saying it, isn't it?
I guess so. I have this thing. There's somebody that I date, and it seems it's so intermittent, and it's probably once every 9.5 months I go on a date with him. So I went on a date with him a couple of years ago, and then I never heard from him for like 8 months. And then he texted me and, hey, how's it going? And then so I texted back saying, oh, I just assumed that you were secretly married and had children and, returned to your family. Oh, no, absolutely not. Why would you think
What's
that?
his deal then? Did you come around again on the rota?
I think I came around on the rota. Here's the thing, though. I think it's more like we've never spoken about it. And I'm happy only having dinner with him once a year or so. So I think he sensed that I wasn't actually that gung-ho about the whole scenario.
But you're nice company.
Yeah. Yeah. We're both nice company.
Yeah.
I think he's interesting and nice, but it's that's the damning word, isn't it? You're nice.
Yeah. But so if he phoned you more often, would you go out with him more often?
No, I actually like it that he just checks in very intermittently. In fact, because what he does is sometimes he just sort of shows up where he knows I'm going to be.
Oh, hang on a minute.
And then he says quite sweetly, oh, I thought you'd be here tonight. That's why I came. It's her sweet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it sweet? Is it sweet because you actually quite like him? And if you didn't, it would be creepy.
Yeah, because I know and trust him, so it doesn't seem weird. But it is sort of weird for a grown man to just not, like, if there is an event that he anticipated I might be at, why didn't he seize the bull by the horns and contact me and go, hey, you're going to go to that gig?
Because, Katie, it's weird. You know that saying out loud now, don't you?
Okay,
Can you hear it?
I think that's probably why a dinner once a year is enough.
Exactly. And the rest of the time, he's just hanging out in places where you might be and you're not. God, ain't romance grand? I'm so glad I'm not out there.
I need to get on coffee meat bagel.
Coffee meat bagel.
Or Bumble. But I need to
bristler.
I don't want a bristler. I already have been fully exfoliated stem to stern. I don't need to crawl all over somebody's body hair to get me baby soft.
Simon, how hairy are you?
Oh, that was quick. This is becoming a habit. We've got to stop this. You know that. People will talk.
Are you bearded? Are you? Would you be on bristler?
Oh, well, I've got a beard. Yeah, beard and moustache.
We've got a bristler. We've got a bristler.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you rung us for?
Hair in all the right places.
And some of the wrong ones, I dare say.
Yeah. Now, look, the reason I had to phone up, plenty of fish. Or as my friend calls it, fishy fingers.
Oh, come on! Let's guess. He's not the most popular with the girls.
Well, he does it. He's not on it.
Well, there we go.
He thinks it's a bit of a joke. I must admit, he is annoyingly attractive. He doesn't seem to know that, fortunately, but he's one of these people. But anyway, so that's by the by. Now, I'm on fishy fingers.
Oh, stop it. Stop calling it that. There's my first tip.
Now, at the beginning, I had a bit of luck. Excuse me. I had a bit of luck at the beginning with dates. None of them really amounted to much. And to be honest, each one of them have a story, and it was a pretty horrendous experience for me, the first few dates I had. And I've not had anything from there for years now. And I spoke to you in the past about the incel thing.
Yeah.
So this is all sort of tied up with it. But anyway, I couldn't understand why I was literally getting nothing. No responses, no nothing. And this was when I was actively sending messages out. And I tried everything from great big long essays about myself and who I wanted to meet and everything else to, hello, do you fancy coffee? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that would bug me as well would be you would get talking to someone and you get to a point where you exchange numbers, everything else, and then the minute you ask them out for a date, they disappear. They go quiet, disappear. And I couldn't work it out. And then I was getting nothing. So I thought, right, here's an experiment. So I created a profile of a mid-20s woman.
Oh, God.
Downloaded some pictures from Google of an ordinary, average-looking girl and made up this profile. Within an hour, I had over 200 responses from men, most of which were talking disgusting to me.
Oh.
And if this is inappropriate, I apologise.
No.
But the majority of those men were Asian men. And the stuff they were saying to me was horrific.
Right. Not that I want to hear the stuff they were saying to you, but I do want to hear more about this. Can you straddle the news for me and I'll come back in a second?
Yeah. Of course I can straddle for you, Katie. That's not a problem.
03444991000 if you want to join the queue behind straddling Simon. We'll be back just after this.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
03444991000 is the number to call. Simon, you're about to get a masterclass in dating websites. Not from us, because we have no experience of it. But next door, we've got Talk Radio's Mr. Lover, Sam.
Hello.
Oh, I thought it'd be Ash.
Oh, he's gone home, and come on, be real.
He's got nothing on me.
Right. When you were talking about your techniques, first of all, the long kind of email type approach, he was shaking his head, and he was also shaking his head when you said you invite them straight out for coffee. Sam, where is he going wrong?
Mate, that's a rookie move. Like, just so you know, this is coming from a guy who's previously was in a 2-year relationship with someone that they met off of Tinder. So, you know.
Right.
It is possible.
Yeah.
Yes, it does work. You need to start slow. So from, like, based on what you read about them, you just need to start chatting about that and then come up with the first day after a few weeks that sort of makes sense from something that you've learned about them.
Act casual and interested.
Exactly. So, there was one girl that I went out on a date with from someone I'd met on Bumble, who she was big into sort of like Marvel films and stuff like that. And it transpired after a few weeks of chatting to her. When I say, like, it's literally I've been talking for about a month, not actually met her yet. She hadn't seen the latest film, so I invited her out to see it.
Aha, okay.
So you have to be a little bit, you act interested, well, be interested.
But not desperate and not pushy.
Yeah. No, like if you first message you send is, hey, so let's meet,
do you know what it would feel like to me? It would feel like you're sending that out to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I mean, like I said, I have tried all approaches. So yes, I have done the, let's meet, and I have also done the longer-winded things. What I find is that you get to a stage where you sort of hit a buffer, and all you're doing, literally, you might message someone 2 or 3 times a day, or they may message you, but the only conversation that's happening is, hey, how are you?
You
don't know each other.
You've not met the right person on it yet, then?
Well, I don't, I mean, I would agree with you there, absolutely.
Also, when you said messaging 2 or 3 times a day, is that a bit much, Sam?
No, that's about right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't profess to be an expert on these things, but like I say, I mean, I did my little experiment, and it did shock me. And it did make me sort of think, well, if this is what's happening, and I think this must be pretty exclusive to the free ones, because to invest the sort of money for blokes to send you messages like that, I don't think, it would cost them an absolute fortune. I don't think they would bother.
No, because I think some of these men are using these sites as a free kind of 0898 type service. Yeah.
But I think, a lot of it is that, and then, like I say, I mean, I have had some success in the beginning. I don't really bother now. But, yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right what you're saying, Sam. And thank you for pointing that out, because maybe you hadn't really thought about asking them, questions in depth.
I wouldn't say in depth. I would just say keep it light
and also listening to them.
Keep it fun. Be interested, but don't be pushy. And also get back up and give them time. And it's like fishing.
Yeah. I just wonder if a lot of them have, they put their profiles on there and they get met with what met me with my fake profile.
For sure.
They sort of get put off straight away,
For sure, and that is why women are wary.
Yeah. Men are bloody idiots, it has to be said.
Some men are brilliant.
Yeah.
Show them which one you are.
Yeah, and Alan Caddick, you deserve a retrial for what you said earlier on.
A retrial? I think he deserves a ban from this show. I'm not entirely sure he knows. I'm not entirely. Maybe it's unfair. I'm not entirely sure he knows how powerful that word is.
Maybe.
Because it's the second time it's come up in conversation. And
yeah. Oh, well, I think Well, you remember what happened before with conversation that came up about people in on the joke. I think maybe that's another example there.
Yeah, where you have to sort of remind yourself that not everyone is. You're right. Thanks for phoning, Simon.
No problem. Take care.
Bye now, Simon. Bye. Did you just say love you?
No.
I'm sure I heard him say it.
Really?
Love you. He didn't, did he? Why not? Hey, Stephen.
Hi there, love you.
What did you want to say?
I was just ringing up about the Plenty of Fish. Well, the first time I went on it, I know it really does work because my partner I'm with now, her sister is married to a guy she met on Plenty of Fish, and now they've got kids together, things like that, obviously. But when I went on it scared me off it because when I searched for people in my area, the first person that popped up was my ex's mum.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
What, and you didn't fancy her?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a scary experience.
Yeah, I thought, mother-in-law were there, so we'll get out of this.
Yeah, retract. Did you try a different one?
No, I've not tried many. Obviously, just you can do it through Facebook. Facebook's like that anyway, isn't it?
Is it? I know Facebook started out like that, and some blokes try that, but I don't know.
Yeah, you just like the pictures and then start poking them until they answer your message back.
Oh.
You sound like a romantic, man.
That sounds like pin the tail on the donkey. Just like someone, or like, you've got a piñata stick and you're just going to thwack and thwack till that candy comes out.
Well, listen, Stephen, if it's working for you.
Yeah, it's working. No, I'm settled down now. I've got children and a missus now, so I don't go on any dating sites no more.
And what about Facebook? Have you given that up, or are you still on there poking?
No, I don't go on that either anymore.
Good lad.
You know what? You've just answered a question actually for me, because I do get people, strange men, poking me, and I don't understand what that is. And you've just explained what that is.
Yeah, you're the piñata in the scenario.
I'm the piñata. I'm the one filled with candy.
Nice to speak to you, Stephen. I'm going to let you go because your phone is making a really odd noise.
Okay, then, no worries.
I mean, it sounds like you're about to be teleported. See you. Have a good night, Stephen.
I'll see you later.
Thanks for ringing. Bye. Travis, what do you do if online dating just doesn't work? I get sick of hearing it's all about how someone looks. That's from Travis. I don't know. Maybe someone out there does. 0344 499 1000. You sound like you're coming round to the idea, Katie.
Well, one thing that's preventing me from doing that is that I have a steampunk phone from the olden days, so I can't actually load any apps. And I think, like, I keep saying to people, oh, yeah, I could give it a try once I get a new phone. But mysteriously, years come and go, and I don't get a new phone.
Well, then you don't really want to do it.
Yeah, I must not want to do it. I just hear too many scary stories about, like, yeah, I went out, I had coffee with the guy, and now he calls me at 4 a.m. for a, midnight munchie. Whatever the kids call it.
Some people like that. A booty call.
Okay, yeah, I renamed it a midnight munchie. And I go to Piece of Fish for my midnight munchies. I'm making life much more interesting by my own ignorance.
Right. Well, you're segueing very... I was going to say neatly, but it's not. It's clumsy as heck, but let's do it anyway.
Okay.
And it's after midnight now, so I wanted to talk to you about this story.
All right.
The sort of things that people do to spice up their love lives. When they found the one, sometimes the way to show them that they are the one is to share them with somebody else.
No.
Well, these people do it. Although I've seen documentaries.
I have.
And every single one I've seen.
Disgusting.
I look at the couple and go, she's not as into it as you are.
The guy. It's all the guy. Always.
Well, listen to this one. A swingers party ended in a punch-up when one man accused another of trying to seduce his partner as she helped him get dressed.
Oh, see? It's a topsy-turvy world.
Yeah, it's like, what? You're putting clothes on him, you pervert!
Yeah, exactly.
Property firm director David Tillier became jealous when he spotted Evelyn Hodder assisting John Watson by putting his sock on.
Oh, yes.
Dirty mess.
Whoa.
And questioned his manliness. The 47-year-old accused hotelier Watson of propositioning his partner at the New Year's Eve masquerade ball in Blackpool. It's a swingers party. I thought...
Yeah. He's not cut out for that gig.
He's been to a few parties. I wonder whether... Either there's something missing here.
In the story?
Yeah.
Or in the sock that she's helping him with?
Here's the rest of the story, right?
All right.
Ex-serviceman Watson, 50, then punched and headbutted the accuser, who was left needing hospital treatment. This is according to the Daily Telegraph. Miss Hodder was dressed in just lingerie, yes, of course she was, when she and her partner headed to the changing room to pick up their clothes. By the way, let me just show you what this club looks like. romance.
Oh, it is grim.
It's like...
It's a bunker. I mean, that's where... Who was the man earlier talking about his apocalyptic food?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That was Dion. That is where you get served up like soup on noodles.
Your apocalyptic Last Supper.
Although I'm sure it's very nice inside.
Sure, covered in...
bloodstains.
Yeah.
And the rest. Coleslaw, wasn't it?
Ghost splooge. Yeah, coleslaw.
She sat next to Watson. It was just then that Mr. Tillier saw him putting his sock on, prompting him to ask, what sort of man needs help putting a sock on?
Well, we all know what that leads to.
Watson jumped from his seat, pushed Mr. Tillier into a toilet door which broke, then attacked him as he was trapped by a sink, Preston Magistrates Court heard.
This sounds like a scene from the new Mission Impossible movie, an action-adventure sequence.
Other swingers split the pair up, but Mr. Tillier was ushered from the venue to his hotel because staff did not want to call the police.
I bet they didn't.
Mr. Tillier described it as a really violent attack in a venue he and his partner usually feel comfortable in. So they've been to this place quite a bit. They travelled from Nottinghamshire for the ball last year, but Mr. Tillier says he was only there to observe sex and not participate.
Wait, is this the head butter? Is saying that he...
No, the head butty.
Head buddy so likes to watch.
He's the jealous partner of the lingerie-clad sock assister.
Oh, so the jealous partner who was the head butter? Or
no,
the one,
he
the
got
victim,
head-butted.
The victim.
He had a go at a guy and saying, how on earth can you not put your own socks on? Are you looking at my bird? All that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the guy responded by pushing him through a toilet door and apparently headbutting him.
Oh, I see. So the guy who was insulted,
the
seductive sock,
Mr.
Socks, who was the seducer, who was stealing the strumpet, who was already being passed around like a bottle of Southern Comfort in a shanty town next to a railroad track outside New Orleans in 1949.
Yes.
Anyway, so he was the one. Oh, he said, "I'll show you who's a man," and then he headbutted him and threw him through through several toilets and wedged him into a sink.
Mr. Hodder told the court that Watson's attack left her. Oh, Ms. Hodder. This is Southern Comfort. Was left shaken. I saw at least one punch, he said. I was shocked, and when my partner left, I stayed for a time, sat next to a 4-poster bed before I left and went for a taxi. Whoa, so hang on a minute. This happens, he leaves, and she's still sitting there.
Yeah, but there's a 4-poster bed. They don't have one of those at home, so she's going to stay in the bunker with the fancy princess bed. Now, so the man, I like how his masculinity was threatened, so then he did
by the sock, but not by the thing that rhymes with sock, which was plentiful in the other room.
Yes, and he likes to watch.
Yeah.
It's a real interesting ecosystem, and
maybe what happens in that room is different from what happens in the changing room.
Well,
it's like and scene.
That's what I was going to say. It's all about context. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Boundaries.
Yeah. And then, are you looking at my bird? Yeah. Are you allowing a sock to be affixed to your foot?
Yeah.
That's improper.
I'm not going to judge people's lifestyle choices.
I am.
And yet, I just can't see what the thing is there.
I don't like it. It makes me feel sad.
It makes me feel like someone's not being honest about how fulfilled they are.
I don't like it. And also, I just, like, the nicest thing I can think of to do with a nice man is kissing. Like, it just seems like, oh, that would just be so nice to get together and cuddle and kiss, and then, like,
you don't fancy that in a terraced house painted green with blacked out windows with some sort of dungeon thing in the basement.
When you get to the stage that you have to add on all these extras to just get to fourth base, it just seems like, you can't really participate in the joys of humanity anymore. I mean, you've screwed up your factory settings, haven't you? It's like those kids, the teenagers who are impotent because they've watched too much porn. Yeah. Like the 10-year-olds have watched too much porn, so by the time they're 19 and they can't satisfy their girlfriend without watching some snuff movie or something, and then they have to
because it feels like
go to the doctor.
What that scenario you're talking about and this scenario here does away with is intimacy. Which is the thing
that's it.
We like.
Yeah. Trust and intimacy. And you don't, I mean, once you do away with trust and you're that calculating about it, and then it's just a sausage festival. It's Seems like pig in a blanket, anybody? I don't know. It just is too much pork for just one fork. That's all I'm saying to you.
Well, that's swinging covered. If you'd like to introduce another topic, 0344 499 1000. Let's talk to Alan. Hey, Alan. Oh, he's gone.
Alan, he's fed up.
Or maybe he wanted to talk about that. Well, you can talk about that if you want to.
I want to talk about having my sleeping habits.
Critiqued by someone who doesn't understand.
Who doesn't understand. So we were complaining about this to each other earlier. So not only do I work a night job, at least this week, you work it all the time. Mm-hmm. This is a night job, and when you finish this job, you're up for a while, aren't you? I mean, we're drinking coffee, we're chatting to stimulating individuals, and talking filth. So it's all very stimulating. And anyway, I'm a night owl, and I am starting to get a little galled and a little enervated by certain snarky comments coming from the caretaker of my building, who's a very nice man. I mean, he's kind of an asshole, but he's not a dick. And by that,
there is a difference.
There is a difference. I mean, he is annoying and needling, but he's not malicious.
In a fun way.
Well, he thinks he's being fun, mm-hmm. but he's, he does look out for me, and he's a nice guy, and he's smart.
You've told me a bit about him, and I think he's negging you. It's kind of a flirtation thing.
I think, you know what it is? I was going to say it's like pulling the girls' pigtails in class, but the adult version of that is negging. So anyway, he always likes to grab on some insignificant detail about, something I'm wearing or some random bit of behavior, and he turns it into a whole deal. And so, and he'll often very sweetly, collect a package for me or something if I'm not at home. And then when he tries to deliver it, he understands that he's not to really ding dong my chimes before 11 in the morning, because I keep late hours, I work late hours. But here's the problem. He likes to turn it into, you're such a layabout, you're so lazy, you don't get up until noon or something. I'm not lazy, I'm working, and I would like to have my full 8 hours of sleep, or at least 6.
Yeah.
I've just come back from Southern California a couple days ago, and I'm still on crazy LA time, 8 hours into the future, I think, or the past. I can't remember which one.
The other thing about this is, please don't piss off a woman who's tired, because she will not take it well, right?
I had a bee in my bonnet all day long about him giving me a hard time about this. And it's just a weird thing how, the perception is, if you're not getting up with the larks, then you're not contributing to society.
Yeah. I've heard this a lot, and it became...
you have it, don't you?
It became a bit of a running joke in our family of my husband and the girls sort of going, Mummy's like a sloth. She's always just lying about, and she's, tired all the time, and she's always, she likes to sleep. She loves sleeping. Mummy's like a big old bear. Mummy's a vampire. Mummy doesn't get up in the day. She's always asleep. Blah, 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 blah.
Mummy's bringing home the bacon.
To the point where I had to, take my husband to one side and go, listen, can you cut this out? Because actually, I'm working really bloody hard, and I'm sleeping less than you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to sort of hold down a job, and I feel guilty about, not doing all the stuff that I could have done if I wasn't doing these hours. But actually, I do more because I'm doing these hours. I take the girls to school every morning. Okay. Admittedly, most of the time I've got my pajamas on underneath my jeans, but hell, I'm on my feet, and I've had 3 hours sleep sometimes, and I'm doing as much as I can. Please don't take the mickey out of me for being tired, because, it's... it's disrespectful, I think.
And also it's sending a message, it's implying something.
To my girls that I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
I don't know.
I am tired, though.
The thing is, listen to us, because we both sound really defensive about it, as if we are trying to cover up our laziness, but it is...
Really, we love being asleep when everyone else is banging and clattering outside, and when the Amazon man is knocking like I owe him money. We love that stuff. I love having broken sleep and never being quite awake. And, and having to drive home really carefully at night, and sometimes pull over and have a coffee and stuff. Because that's fun, right?
Yeah, so great. But what is it about the smug early birds? Where do they get off? What are they really doing?
All they see is us still being asleep at 10 o'clock, right? Which looks like fun to them.
Yeah.
What they don't realise is we didn't get to bed till 5.
Okay. Just making that clear to everybody.
So, please don't. Just don't.
Yeah.
And if I've given you a note saying you can put that parcel in my safe place, please don't be banging on my door. Thank you.
I like that expression, put my parcel in my safe place. I'm going to put that on my piece of fish profile.
And then I wonder what will happen. God, can you imagine? 03444991000. Give us a ring. Alan has bottled it, but I know you're made of tougher stuff, so give us a ring. You can always text us, and you do that by texting talk and your message to 87222. That's 25p per message on top of your standard network rate. Or you can tweet us at Talk Radio. We're waiting to hear from you.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you.
On Talk Radio.
Penguinland needs an update on Iain's cat, it turns out, on Twitter. Iain's cat is still very much in the land of the living. I went to see her today. We had a chat, then she clambered back underneath the bed. Litter tray, slightly less messy than yesterday, but we have had words about it. And she'd eaten all her wet food again. So I'm thinking this whole idea of going every other day was hogwash, and she needs to eat more.
Well, here's the thing that I'm so impressed by. You're practically Florence Nightingale, because you have to drive an hour to get to Velvet and then an hour to get to your next destination.
An hour and a half here.
Oh, an hour and a half here. So that's heroic.
Well, someday I'm going to be rewarded for it, but in the meantime, yeah.
I mean, well,
when I'm an old cat, I want someone to come and feed me every day.
And also just her little face.
Oh,
her little
sweet.
face is reward enough.
Well, I do worry that part of me is just I don't want her to die on my watch.
Right.
And if I don't go,
it's cynical self-interest. You
totally.
Just don't want to have that guilt.
I don't care about that cat. No, of course I do. I mean, yeah, that's a living thing that I'm responsible for.
I like that.
I feed my kids every day too.
And did she kind of pop out a little bit more eagerly this time?
She did, and she followed me down the stairs this time.
She associated you with the good stuff and the good times.
She's still not interested in my little treats though. I was shaking that box for ages, and she wasn't interested.
But she did. Did she chirp little meows at you?
Yeah, there was a bit of that, and she let me stroke her as well. And she kind of rubbed up against my legs and did that whole thing. It was nice. I can see why people like cats. I like that cat.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's so good, but I do feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
I sat and chatted. She was sitting under the bed, so I sat there and chatted to the space where she was clearly hiding for a good 5 minutes.
Like a crazy woman.
Yeah, and then I said, right, well, I'm going now. Don't try and stop me.
Yeah.
She wasn't bothered. I think she was asleep.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, she's fine. She's going to be cool.
Good.
And I told her I'd probably see tomorrow then. Again, nothing from under the bed. But I take that as I can't wait.
Yeah, it's safe to do that. Safe to assume.
Yeah, but it's quite nice. What was I going to tell you about? Oh yeah, the other thing that I've realised is, right, there are more than one kind of mum, but I've realised that I'm a chancer mum, right? There are these mums who can do things really easily, like, you know, if they've got daughters, they can do French plats, and they're straight, and it doesn't take them all day, and doesn't fall out straight away. I can't do a French plait to start with. It's just like, Mummy, can we have a French plait? No, you can wait to see Grandma for that. You can have a ponytail, and if you're lucky, I'll put a bow in it.
Yeah.
Because we just haven't got time. And there are mums that can, I don't know, make a wigwam out of a bedsheet and 4 garden canes, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Fortunately, most of those mums are on YouTube showing us chancer mums how to do it, right?
Right. I was going to say go to YouTube.
So what's happened is, over the years, my kids think that when it comes to birthday cakes, I'm Mary Berry, because I seem to always be able to pull it out of the hat. What happens is I can usually find like a 15-year-old or one of these yummy mummies on YouTube who breaks it down and makes it possible, right? It's like watching a Blue Peter, but actually having the bits and being able to pause it and stuff. So this year, my eldest wants a Harry Potter themed party. So I've said I'm going to make her the sorting hat, which is like a bent out of shape, fortunately, old sort of leather witch's hat with a face in it, right? Which I'm thinking, great. And I've said to her, if it goes wrong, I could just put bigger eyes on it, and it's one of those emoji poos. So
you're making her a poo cake.
Basically, yeah.
Great.
So I started making it today, thinking I've got to do it for Saturday, but I'd need to build in disaster time, because it has happened in the past. Like the time I made a carousel cake, and it was mostly out of chocolate, right? Which is a bad idea, making anything mostly out of chocolate in the middle of a heat wave. Like it was a few years ago, August, and I remember sitting in the kitchen crying because these handmade chocolate carousel horses were just bending and like all their features rubbing off. And,
like Salvador Dali melting clock.
I got it together in the end and like propped it up so it was going to stay together for the big moment, which is, you take it out with the candles and everything. Didn't realise that putting candles underneath a canopy entirely made out of chocolate in a heat wave is not the best. It looked like some kind of industrial accident.
Yes.
But
crime scene.
They appreciated the efforts, right? That fairground, however, would not pass health and safety standards.
That looked like a poo cake as well.
It was, as a theme. But they liked it, right? They liked it. So this year, we've had unicorn cakes. That's another thing. So my youngest's birthday is in a month's time. So this is all setting precedents, dangerous precedents. They just come out with these ideas and they pull them out of their hats. So I started making this cake today and I was copying this woman online, and it was all going really well until I tipped it out today and I had to slice through it. It's in like this really odd shaped tin, which is like a really long kind of dome, and where you'd normally separate the cake mix into two tins to make a sort of sandwich cake, you put the whole thing in. And so the timings were completely off because this thing is massive, and I kept taking it out and sticking my cake tester in there, and coming out still covered in raw cake, and I kept doing it, and then by the end I thought, I think I've cracked it this time. Tipped it out again, waited for it to cool, sliced through it, and the middle of it is completely raw still.
Ew.
So I'm going to do it again tomorrow, and this time I'm going to use that odd-shaped cake tin for half the mixture, and then I'm going to put the rest in another cake tin and do it like it's a sandwich.
This is like science.
So what I'm saying is, thanks YouTube, because thanks to you, my kids don't realise that this is a massive ordeal every year, and I should just buy them a Colin the Caterpillar and this could all be over.
Right. And are you doing tester cakes and then you throw them away?
Well, this one's going to have to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Because, there's nothing you could do with it.
No.
I must say, I've kept the top of it just in case the top of the next one doesn't work out. But I'm hoping the next one's going to be perfect. I think I know what I'm doing this time. But time is ticking and I've got this to do. And also I need to sleep at some point. So it's going to get frantic is what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
And I'm blaming YouTube, because before YouTube I would have looked at it and gone, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that.
So there's false expectations that you set for yourself.
And it's daft, really. A lot of people have said to me, why don't you just buy one? But I think part of it is that mum guilt thing of, no, I should be able to do this stuff.
Did your mother, was she good at all that stuff?
Yeah.
So what were her specialties?
Oh, cakes. She made a rabbit jelly once that I tried to replicate. She made a rabbit jelly and she made the grass out of green jelly, and then the rabbit was made out of red jelly, so it looked amazing. And I tried to do that for my eldest's first birthday, and again it didn't set in the middle, so I poured the rabbit onto the green jelly grass and it was like the rabbit had been eviscerated. It was
yeah. It's like the Croydon cat killer all over again in cake form.
Totally. So, I mean, all right, yeah, you're right. It's not just YouTube, it's my mum too. Thanks a bunch, Mum. I appreciate it. Kinda.
My mom was good at sewing.
My mum's that as well. Dressing up outfits.
Oh, I was the little doll. I was her doll. Like she crocheted, knit, sewed, designed head to toe couture ensembles from elementary school onward. And then once I got involved in my little dance recitals, she did the costumes. She did it all. I mean, she did train in fashion. So that was her background.
That's handy.
In university, that was her major, was fashion.
So actually you were probably helping her scratch an itch there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I was scratching some itches at the old homestead, psychologically speaking. But I still wish I had some of those jumpers, because they were amazing from the 80s.
Do you mean jumpers, or do you mean...
I mean British jumpers. I'm talking your language. I'm adjusting.
Because I found out yesterday that jumper in America is like a pinafore, right?
Yeah, it's a pinafore. But it's even kind of a bygone phrase in America.
What, like slacks?
Yeah, like slacks, because we don't really have slacks anymore. Here's the thing, talking about bygone phrases. So when I came in to talk radio tonight, there's a nice young man having a cigarette outside on the steps, and he said, "All right." And I said,
was he sort of Blondie?
Blondie.
Yeah, I know who he is.
How do you know who he is from that description?
Because he's the nice young man with a cigarette, isn't he, generally?
That is so funny that I just said the most banal thing about him. And you're like, that's Pat. Anyway, he said, "All right." Does that sound like Pat? Is that
All
like
right.
the kind of thing you
All
say?
right.
All right. Yeah.
It sounds like most of Talk Sport, to be honest.
Yeah, so it was just like...
That's when they're feeling particularly verbal.
Yeah, he was like really giving it the chat. So I said, yes, I'm fine, thank you. How are you? And then that just sounded like way too much. Like it was so culture clashy.
No, he'd love that.
And there was this kind of like awkward silence, but like, like benign. He thought that was fine. So then I heard it jarring in my head, like, what am I talking about? Because what's the right response when someone says,
all right?
You just go, all right. I'm just like going, yes, how do you do? I am fine, fine fellow.
What I found is Southerners use all right like hello.
Yes.
And so they're not actually asking you if you're all right.
Yes,
it's
I
like,
know.
right?
So because that's the thing, when I moved to Britain in the 80s, I felt like when people go, how are you all right? How are you all right? I felt like they were answering their own question.
Yes.
Like,
Well,
how are you? I've decided you're all right, so shut up. I don't need to hear a yes or a no about how are you all right? Like, I haven't told you that. So after Pat with a cigarette, I gave him far too much information. Then I walked in and then the nice man behind the desk said, all right. And then I just did the same thing again. Like I'm some freaky American on American autopilot going there. And I said,
the question is,
fine, thank you.
How are those guys? We don't know and we're never going to know. Let's have a word with Alan. Hey, Alan.
Hello.
How are you? All right?
All right.
Fine. How are you?
There we go.
I'm all right.
All right. Well, we missed you earlier when you dropped off, but we're glad you're back.
Yeah, I know. I lost signal.
Okay. What did you want to say, Alan?
Yeah, well, I've been on this Facebook site and I've done a bit of the Plenty of Fish sites. I went on the Facebook site. I got poked by a young lady in America.
Oh.
And then we started.
How very forward.
Chatting on. Yeah, she was straightforward. She invited me over, and
whoa,
I didn't go over actually because she wanted me to start buying her presents.
There we go. There we go. How soon after your initial conversation did she start talking about you going over?
The next day.
Right, boom. There you go. That should send out warning signals. But although you may be hot stuff, Alan.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
But she was asking you to buy her presents as well, was she? Cheeky mare.
Oh, yeah. She wanted an iPhone or she wanted... I know, I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know her. And then she started sending me some pictures of herself.
Oh, God, here we go.
Yeah, we think it's of herself, but it could be anybody.
And what kind of pictures are we talking?
That's right.
How many clothes was she wearing? Full complement?
Well, not very much.
Boom, there we go.
Not very much.
There we go.
Yeah, no.
And then was she asking to see yours? Now she'd shown you hers?
No, she didn't actually ask for that.
Right, because that's another thing they do. So they'll get some pictures of you and then they'll start trying to get money out of you for it.
Well, that's right, yeah. So I didn't do anything like that. But another thing, I just heard that your mother used to be a dressmaker or used to make clothes.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. My mother used to have her own making underwear for biggish ladies, but sexy underwear. Oh. We used to have overlockers and a flat machine in the house. My mother started from that and had a little factory going. And I used to help her and make the knickers.
Wow, what a great after-school job. That's unusual.
That's quite cool.
It's better than a paper round.
God, imagine, in these days of the internet, she could have made a fortune.
Yeah.
I know. She's passed away now, so God rest her soul. She's been gone 17 years. But,
but no one can say she didn't do her bit.
Oh, no. I mean, my mother did quite a lot. She was work. She'd go out, do her own thing, and then do another job as well, like, to make money. It's like me. I work doing my job at night time. I work through the night. Mm. That's why I'm always on here.
What do you do, Alan?
Wagon driver.
Ah, right. Okay. So are you in the wagon now?
I've just pulled up, waiting to get onto the bay for unload, yeah, and then off I go again.
Really?
Yeah.
When do you get to sleep?
Yeah, that's how it is. I'll get home about 5 in the morning. I'll probably be up about dinner time, and then I'll be back at work for, say, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's all go. It just seems if it's like go on, off, on. You're just waiting to go work once you wake up anyway.
I know exactly what you mean.
One of them.
I had a look today, and I'm not an exercise. I'm not Jane Fonda for 1 second. I hate it, but I've got into this sort of a rhythm with working these hours that I'm always just watching the clock of when I can go to sleep, when I can wake up, and then I've got to do, sort the kids out, get ready for work, come to work, do this, go home, back to bed, and then I'm on a timer again. And it's always, I feel like I'm always setting the alarm, and I'm watching the clock to fulfill various things, but I'm not doing anything that's good for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had a look today at the leisure centre to see if there's like some sort of Pilates class or something where I can move my backside and not just out of bed into the shower and then into the car. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I need to do something because otherwise,
I know what you mean.
It ticks by, doesn't it? It's like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's she's 18. She's going on to university now. But I brought her up on my own since she was 7 years old. So.
Wow.
She's going on for a good career. She's going to be a vet, so that's what she wants to train as.
Hey, well done. You helped her do that.
Well, I haven't got the brains. I mean, I've just got her through and helped her with her own work when she come home from school, and then carried on, and now she's going on to university. So
how brilliant!
Good luck to her. You know what I mean. I wish I could say I didn't want to be in a dead-end job like me.
Oh, there's something.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Well, I try.
Well, you've succeeded.
Anyway, ladies, it's been nice talking to you.
You too.
Yes.
I've got to reverse back now.
Okay.
So you take care of yourself, and nice to see you both of you back on again.
All right, thanks.
Iain, I mean, I miss you two when you're on. It's great when I can have a natter with you two. Iain's all right, but I'd rather talk to the ladies.
Yeah, there we go, Alan. That kind of charm that's going to get you places. Take care, Alan, and watch while you're reversing.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
If you want to give us a ring, you've got about 20 minutes. 03444991000. Someone who's been desperately trying to get our attention on the tweets tonight is Travis. Earlier on when we were talking about dating and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Travis started texting about, how you manage if you don't get any success with the dating sites. Where I'm just trying to find where it began because he's sent us loads.
Oh, right.
Here we go. What do you do if online dating doesn't work? I get sick of hearing it's all about how someone looks. That's why I don't use online dating because I'm not going on photographs. So that's it then. Nothing you can do. What I'm asking really is I'd like to be in a relationship, but online doesn't work. So what do you do then? I don't have to fancy someone to go out with them. Personality and character means more to me than what someone looks like. So there's the thing.
Well, shared interests. I mean, that's always the thing. Getting out and doing, like working on a project together, going, even the gym is a thing. I've met somebody at one of the ballet classes that I go to. So that was not expected.
No, and statistically difficult,
yes.
I would imagine.
Yes, for a straight man to be involved in that line of work. But, definitely in real life, IRL, to put yourself out there, do something, join a group that is something to do with your interests, whether it's, going to films, making something, projects, volunteering. Night school, is that still a thing? Oh, classes. What a good idea, classes. Yeah. Classes are a great idea.
Teddy Ware is...
Join a choir.
Boom. There'll be loads of women there.
Join a choir.
I
want to join a choir.
I know Amdram is a big thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of marriages that have fallen apart because of Amdram, and then You know,
oh, really? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a selling point.
There is someone I know who jokes that there's a new sort of block of smart flats in a town near us, and it's populated by the Amdram dads who ended up having to move out because of Amdram
dads. That is too funny.
But, you know, I think that a lot of people, Amdram dads aside, I think a lot of people get to a certain age, maybe with their partners, when the kids have got older and stuff, and they realise that the stuff that kept them together in the first place, all that kind of biological imperative, has fallen by the wayside because the kids came along and then the kids have gone, and they look at what they've got left and they realise there's not an awful lot there.
The kids suck the life out of them.
Yeah.
That's actually happened to a very dear friend of mine in America, and she says that she and her husband are having the empty nest syndrome. Their 2 daughters are off to university or off with their lives, and they've really drifted apart.
Yeah.
She's thrown herself into politics, so she's gotten really activistic.
But isn't that meeting someone else ready to happen, isn't it? Getting passionate about something else. She's going to meet someone who floats her boat and is interested in the same things, and it could
maybe.
But maybe that's the way it should be. I don't know. I mean, I don't pass any judgment on.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's unusual for marriages to last these days, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to advocate just staying with somebody out of habit or fear, a fear of the unknown, although those are very strong pulls.
Yeah.
For sure. But it is really hard to change horses in midstream and to start a new life in midlife. That's really tricky. But yeah, the old, as evidenced by the Amdram dads and the fact that they've been frisky enough to get chucked out of their relationships, I guess all the action is happening with the thespians.
Oh, well, they always have been rather free with their affections, haven't they? I mean, that's always been the thing. And I guess that, again, Amdram is scratching the itch that may have been there before they had the kids, before the kids were of an age where they could pop them to bed and then nip out for an hour and a half every Thursday night or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's just doing something playful because...
where it's fun and just for you. You know?
Fun and just for you. So another good thing is learning to dance. I mean, that's sort of the classic thing because then you're allowed to touch somebody and it's more intimate.
A few years ago, when I lived in Spain, I got quite into salsa. I loved it, right? And here's the weird thing. I lived in Paris for 6 months and I found the men quite predatory. But the Spanish guys were the ones my mum always warned me about because, they've got the gift of the gab and, they're
Mediterranean.
Kind of sensual and all that.
Yeah.
I had I found them a lot more respectful. I don't know why that is, but I found them a lot more respectful. And to be honest, very hot. But when I lived out there, you used to be able to dance with the guy and there'd be nothing in it. It would be really good fun and that would be it. And they would be able to dance, right?
Yes.
As a form of having a good time. Like in the way that my grandparents met ballroom dancing because that was their version of the disco, right?
Yeah.
So that goes on still. And in the part of Spain where I used to go, it would get to sort of 2:00 in the morning, bearing in mind you'd only gone into the disco at like 12 because everyone's eating at 10, isn't it? And flamenco music would come on and the guys would be dancing with the women and it was so impressive to me. It was great. Anyway, so dance is not considered a silly thing to do, and to be a good dancer over there is a source of pride.
Well, it's the same actually in Texas. You were sneering somewhat at Texans, but one thing that is great about their culture is their love of the two-step and the fact that your real He-Man cowboy types
knows how to dance. And it's that intermittent step that we've lost in this day and age between meeting somebody of the opposite sex or the same sex and going into full-on dating. It's just like a little transition where you can have a lovely encounter with somebody and an exchange and a shared moment and an intimacy. Yeah. Because you are face to face and, cheek to cheek and hand to hand, and you can take it further or not. And you can feel the frisson, and you can also feel when it's not there, but it can be fun, it can be friendly, all that stuff. Yeah. So when I came back, I started doing, going to salsa nights, right? Oh, yeah. But the vibe here is so much different. Really? Proper meat market. Oh. And the guys that can dance at those places tend to be, and this is a massive generalization, the guys that go there go so they can get a grip, really. Oh, they're having a little reach around. Yeah. How about that? And then vastly outnumbered, of course, by women. So if you want to dance, you need to dance with these guys. But there's definitely a different vibe.
I have a story like that, but it's about Naked Day at the sauna.
Oh, I want to hear about Naked Day at the sauna. We'll hear about it after this.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Not just me, I've got Katie Puckwick in the studio.
Yeah.
And we are going at it hammer and tongs, and we've got another 9 minutes of it. Listen, Travis has sent us, I reckon about, I'm counting, but barely, to be honest, I reckon about 10 messages one after the other. Travis, give us a ring, because this is a conversation now. You're becoming our pen friend, and I would much rather hear your voice. 0344 499 1000. Talking about, how you meet someone these days, in these days of so much choice when it comes to online dating, but it would seem that there are also plenty of pitfalls.
There's pitfalls. And we were just talking about the fact that dancing in Spain was different to salsa dancing here in the UK. It just sort of, it's not part of the culture, and then people sort of adopt a predatory approach to it. And it reminded me of a situation, a fun day out with my friend Stella from Munich. And she suggested that we take in an afternoon at the spa, the local baths, where they had Turkish spa, and they had a cold plunge pool, and they had all these different heated treatment rooms.
The Turkish spa is what, when you get kind of beaten up a bit?
You can't...
Pummeled.
Yeah, you can get pummeled. But no, it's just different levels of steam. So there's like dry steam, wet steam, in-between steam. And the whole deal is that you are naked, you can wrap a towel around yourself, but basically it's bottoms to the four winds. And normally they have ladies' days and men's days. And Stella suggested, the intrepid Stella from Munich, German, says, oh, let's just go on a mixed day. She said the day, and I looked it up, and I said, look, it's mixed, and that seems really weird to me, like, borderline swingers. And she said, you are so puritanical, typical American, and why don't you just relax? This is how we do it in Germany.
So if she'd been wearing anything, the gauntlet would have been thrown down.
Right. So I was completely prudish and was totally togaed up in my towel, and she was just blithely skipping around, and they all together. And there's men in there, and there's women, and after a while, I decided that, okay, I guess I am just being very prudish, and I'm being puritanical and American, and I just need to relax. So at one stage, I threw caution to the wind, flung off my terry cloth toga, and went leaping out into the common area where they had these umbrella tables around, as if it's some sort of resort area. And I went leaping into the plunge pool, and just before I submerged, I heard this man's voice yell out, "Oi, Doris!"
Doris?
Yeah, yelling at me, Doris. And that was his all-purpose expression. And then I just instantly got the idea, I don't think this is the kind of cool-with-it guy Stella had in mind. And so I kind of crawled out of the pool in an almost fetal position, and then scuttled up the stairs like a little crab and got to my locker as fast as I could to get another towel out. And all the while he's yelling, "Doris, Doris!" And then he came over to say hello. And then a minute later...
You weren't seduced by that. I'm astonished.
I was really not compelled by that.
Doris.
And then a minute later, Stella comes over and goes, "There's pervy men here looking at our naked bodies." So she led me into this den of iniquity. I tried to warn her off. Turns out the Puritan was correct in this situation.
So when she says there were pervs in there, what did she mean?
It means that
there were Englishmen in there.
She meant English people availing their eyeballs of our tender niblets.
And your kibbles and your bits.
Is that not a bit racialist against us English men?
Well, they were the one yelling Doris.
Doris? What is Doris? God, I can only apologise on behalf of my sex and my countrymen. Eternally. I mean, an eternal state of shame and apology.
The response to that, I mean, is it going to be, yes, let's go and make mad, passionate love to each other?
Yeah, let us mate now.
One of my daughters said that to me a couple of years ago. He said, when these blokes bib their and I'm not against lorry drivers, but he said, when these lorry drivers bib at me and shout, do they think I'm going to suddenly drop my knickers
on,
Vauxhall High Street, 10:30 in the morning? happening.
One can hope. It must have happened once. They were encouraged.
I think it's too much 1960s farcical, confessions films.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe the Carry-Ons had a bit of that, didn't they? A little bit of, or Nice Pair. Those aren't bad either, and all that kind of stuff. Babs Windsor has a lot to answer for. God bless her.
Anyway, nice to see you, Paul Ross.
Lovely to see you both. Great show as ever.
What have you got coming up?
Coming up on the show today, we're talking to a remarkable female academic, brilliant young woman from the University of Bristol, who's worked out that everything we know about life on Earth is wrong.
Oh.
As I'm sure you both know, 4.5 billion years ago, there was a collision which sterilised the Earth with another planet called Theia, and that created the Moon. They thought that that life started 700 million years after that because of fossil records. So this woman has worked out, and it's been approved by all kinds of people across the world. She's a paleobiologist.
Wow.
No, life started almost immediately after that mass sterilisation. And it's the most astonishing thing, because what she's done is she's discovered, with a colleague, but she's worked out something called the molecular clock. And she says, don't look at fossils. Fossils are dead, carbon dating, it can be distorted. We should look at what we've got in common in our own genome system with things like single-cell amoebas and trace it back, and then we can see where they come from. So everything we know about life on Earth, if we know anything at all, is completely wrong. We've got the woman on the programme tonight.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Secret of life.
Absolutely fascinating, yeah. And she's even now postulating, come on, if life is that tenacious, then before this mass sterilisation...
There must have been something.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's more science fiction than... But it's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, for the first time ever, I'm going to be speaking to somebody from the Sioux Nation, because there is a live 3-day powwow happening, and we're crossing off to find out what that's all about with some Sioux, Native Americans, about their heritage, their culture, and what they're powwowing about, what they're talking about.
Fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to that on the show.
What a great show.
That's just the first 10 minutes. Stick around for 4 hours.
How come our show isn't like that?
Well, because we have jealous swingers to address who get worried about who's putting whose socks on.
That was a lovely call of that guy who said he was driving his wagon and his daughter's going to be a vet and stuff.
I know,
That was brilliant.
amazing.
Yeah, wonderful.
So he's raised us by himself since she was 7.
I mean, the other thing is, Katie, I have no natural empathy. I can't deal with ordinary people. I'm fine with people like me who are boffins with absolutely no kind of interest in other things apart from microbes and single-cell amoeba. It's a gift. It's a curse and a blessing. It really is.
Well, I'm glad you have it, right? So that's going to be coming up from, the moment that the newsman stops talking.
Yeah, 1 a.m. We've got all that. We've also got, because it's a Thursday, we're off to the movies with John Hearn, our producer, also a filmmaker and film critic. We're looking at Black Klansman, which I've not seen yet, but it sounds fantastic.
A friend of mine who sees every movie, he's got a movie pass in America and he goes all the time. Usually very, very, very critical of movies, and he doesn't like Spike Lee. Spike Julie as well, she's great. I was going to say Spike Jones. What am I thinking?
Oh, he's the City Steckers. He used to get band leader, wasn't he, Spike Jones?
So he said he doesn't normally like his stuff. Loved that one.
Oh, okay.
Loved it.
All
anyway,
right.
we better go and let you do your thing.
Marvellous.
Thanks very much for your company tonight. See you tomorrow.